There we go. Hey everybody, what up? 40 Grit here, 40 Grit Guitars. Tonight is a special night for me. I'm bringing on the guys that I sit and watch, and this isn't over yet, but I just wanted to thank you guys for being here. I'll bring him in a second. You know what's cool about this is I was just asking him what he wanted to do tonight, and then we started talking about work because Randy and I are both affiliated with Ford. And so we got to sit there and talk about everything but guitar stuff. So now we are ready to talk about guitar stuff now. And I'm going to bring him in. Randy. Randy is here. Randy Price from the OU812 crew. What's going on, bro? How you doing, man?
Doing good, man. We're going to wing it live without a net.
Hey, me and Kurt winged it pretty good. I mean, like, yeah, I threw a couple things together, but I figure it'll be easy tonight. I mean, everybody's going to be, hopefully we'll have a bunch of people here asking some questions, and we'll go through some guitar gear. I want to go through your stuff. I want to check out your guitars, and then, we could talk some shop and, see what's doing with everybody that's in the chat. So, hey, Bat, appreciate you being here, bro. Super cool.
Oh, yeah, man. Thanks for having me on.
I'm going to swing this like this because my better half was saying with the chat box, it doesn't work too good. It covers my guest up. So we'll try it like this for a few and see how it goes. Let's see who's in the chat real quick before we get started. Ryan was in the chat. Let's see. Darren's here. Darren, my DeMartini buddy. I will do my best to throw out some lay it down tonight. I'm hooked up. I think Randy says he can be hooked up. John DeShane says, looking forward to this. Me too, buddy. I am too. While it cries, what do you say? Best part, no Quentin. What? I don't even know what that means. I don't know what that means. Jeff T's here. We're gonna lay it down tonight. Randy says, let's go. Symmetry's here. Fisty-cuffer. All right. Glad I was notified. Almost forgot. Sweet. So, Blue Mox is here. Cool, man. So I'm going to jump back in, but let's get to it. So I have questions for you tonight, but I guess I will start with, you think we should start with the questions, or you want to start with something else?
You can start with the questions. Hammer away.
All right. This is a new segment. On the channel. My son put this together for us today. I think you'll think this is funny, but this will be the new segment. This is called 10 with 40. So this is the 10 questions with 40 grit. So hopefully you are prepared, sir. How long have you been playing, and what was your first guitar?
28 years.
28.
Yeah, 28 years. I'm 38, and I started at 10. So, 28 years.
28 years. First guitar?
First real guitar was...
Electric.
First real guitar was a PV Raptor, the Strat copy.
Yeah.
That came with one of the kits with the little Rage 158 amp and the gig bag and all that stuff. That was it.
Was that singles? Or was it a humbucker?
It was 3 singles. I think they did the same pack with the Predator, and the Predator was the hum single. I didn't know. I didn't know any better.
Yeah. What was the first lick you figured out? You remember?
Probably, if I had to guess, it was probably a very, very poor version of Running with the Devil.
Oh,
the main riff of Running with the Devil. That was probably, and I'm sure it was very poor and not played correctly at all. So
yeah. I was thinking the other day. I'm sure mine was a bad version of Smoke on the Water. you know, and then it wasn't even played right. It was just played on the low E string, you know.
Right.
Let's see here. When's the first time you heard Edward? Remember?
I was young, probably 7 or 8 years old. My dad had the 5150 cassette in his truck, and I just thought the album cover was cool.
Yeah.
So he popped it in one day, and I was like, "So who is this?" He's like, "Oh, this is Van Halen."
Yeah.
And I thought the name Van Halen was cool, and then once, you know, I think it was, I guess it had been Good Enough. You know,
yeah.
As soon as Good Enough started, I was like, "Oh, this is awesome."
Yeah.
And then that was probably, show my age here, that was around the time Twister came out.
Yeah.
So the first time I ever really saw what Eddie Van Halen looked like was the Humans Being video.
Oh my God. You are young. How old did you say you are? 38?
38.
Okay, so my son's he'll be 30 here in March. So that's funny because as soon as you said my dad, I'm like, he's a lot younger than me. So a lot younger.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So yeah, that'd have been the first time that I can remember actually like seeing who Edward Van Halen was. It was the Humans Being video.
The first time I heard Humans Being, I was driving to work. I was driving and I was on the freeway and I heard the drums and I go, that's Al. This is Al. Like, what's going on? Like, I don't even know what this is. And then I was like, oh my God, what is this? You know, like it was so, and then I went to work and then I went home that day because that may have been right around the time when we had web TV, you know, like I didn't have internet. We had a web TV for the computer, which I don't, you probably don't even know what that is.
Oh yeah. But, I remember web TV.
And, but I remember I went home that night just surfing going, what is this? I don't even know what this is. You know, oh my God, it sounds awesome. That's cool. That's cool. How many guitars you got right now? Do you know what your count is?
Here currently, because I have guitars that aren't here.
Yeah.
So there's like 12 here, and I think I added up the other day that I've got 22 total.
Okay. So what's the last guitar in your collection that you would sell? If you had to sell everything, you could only keep one. What's the one it would be?
My Charvel Wildcard number 3.
Which one is that?
That was the last USA wild card on the 8th batch, which was the last of the production run they did in 2010 before they moved production to Japan.
Was it the primer? So the wild card.
So the primer is wild card 7.
Okay.
That's just the primer gray with the green inlays.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the last wild card, was wild card 7. Wild card 3, it's behind me. I can just grab it if you want.
Yeah, grab it. Yeah, grab it. Yeah, grab it.
Hang on a sec.
I know what it is. I just don't know what it is, you know.
And keep in mind, nothing I have is stock.
Yeah. That's the one I thought it was. The single. Yeah, that's the one I thought it was. Yep.
Yep. And of course, mine's modded. They came with a JB.
Okay. What'd you put in it?
This currently is a Super 3.
I love that pickup, dude. The Phil Collin.
Yep.
They're awesome, man.
3.
Yeah.
But they only made 100 of these. They made 100 of each wild card. So there's only 100 of these in existence. There's currently one on eBay right now for like $2,500.
Oh, wow.
And I stumbled upon this in a mom and pop guitar shop out here where I live, hanging on the wall on consignment for $650.
Isn't that awesome when you stumble on those?
And it was like, they were about to close. So I'm like, well, I get paid tomorrow. I'll give you half the money now if you'll go, you know, put it behind the counter or something.
Yeah.
I'll be back to collect it tomorrow.
Yeah.
And the owner of the shop, who now I'm really good buddies with, he was like, well, if you're serious, I'll put it back here. He goes, believe it or not, that guitar hasn't had a lot of interest. I'm like, well, nobody wants a single hum Floyd Rose anymore.
Yeah.
So,
except for me.
Right. And me. But I snaked this about going on 4 years ago. And it's my 100% my favorite guitar.
Alder, right?
Yep. Alder body, one piece, quarter sawn maple neck. Got the Grover tuners. I think
And that's flat too, isn't it?
Yeah, flat black.
That's like that flat black. You know what? I had one of those, a single hum, and it was flat back. It was a custom shop.
Mm-hmm.
And it had the maple neck on it, but and I regret selling it because it was a badass guitar. I think it was a Music Zoo exclusive. I think is what that guitar was.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is definitely my favorite. I mean, I bought it, and I only had like one other Charvel at the time, and I bought it, and it just instantly became my favorite. It's one of those I've put like 7 or 8 different pickups in it because I mean, you can't get easier than just hooking a pickup to the volume knob, you know.
Yeah.
So it's always been my pickup test guitar because it's just the way it sits is it sits right in the middle of, it's not too bright, it's not too dark. It's dark with the Super 3 in it, but it's like a low mid sledgehammer.
Yeah.
And but I put the Super 3 in it after it had a Tone Zone, the JB, the D Martini pickup, the RTM,
Yeah.
and a few other ones. And just this guitar with this pickup, man, it's a monster. The only other pickup that I really liked in this guitar was the Tone Zone.
Mm.
So the Super 3 is going to stay.
Super 3 is a good pickup, man. I when I bought that Jackson with the sustainer in it, the Phil Collin, I was like gravitated to that pickup for a while. I was like, man, this is a really good pickup.
Yep.
I was going to ask you another question about that guitar. The test guitar. It's funny that you have that. I've got the number 4 guitar. I think I've talked about it before, but that it's got that Warmoth guitar's got no finish on it, and it's a perfect guitar to throw a pickup in. You know, because I'm going to get the right sound out of it. You know,
Right.
So it's good to have. I mean, for you guys, if you don't know, and you know, it's always good to have one guitar that you can rely on with regards to testing pickups. Because the worst thing is when you take one of your guitars that you're unsure of, and you pull the pickup out of it, and then you don't know. That kind of sucks because you end up going back to what you originally had. Oh shoot, man, here we go. John DeShane's in the chat. R2's here. Zach Thong is what up, man, in the house.
What's up, Zach?
Zach's 39. Yostinator 46, and Price has more gray hair than
That's right.
Yeah, man. It's a lot of wisdom there.
I started getting the gray beard in my late 20s.
Number 7 is my fave. The primer.
Yeah.
That's what he's talking about. R2 says he wants Wild Card 3.
I know where you can get one. Not mine, but there's one on eBay right now.
Symmetry says needs more humbuckers.
No, one's fine.
Yeah. Hey man, I'm good with one. What's the last guitar you bought and why?
This is the last guitar I bought.
Is it that Henrik?
No, that's I got that on the first run they did back in 2020.
Oh, that's right. You told me that. That's right. You told me that.
The last guitar I bought like 4 this year. I think it was that white Japanese SoCal that I bought back over the summer. I think that was the last one I bought.
You
I've
gonna
bought
keep
so
it?
much crap this year. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it. I love those, man. The necks are like identical to that. So,
I think my favorite SoCal is the MIJ.
yeah.
The favorite SoCals I pick because the fretwork on those MIJ is amazing. I mean, the fretwork of those guys is amazing fretwork. So, what's your favorite Tonewood? What's your favorite? What's your go-to?
Probably Alder or Swamp Ash.
Yeah.
Alder just kind of sits right in the middle. Swamp Ash is pretty close. It can be a little bit darker.
Yeah.
Now if I'm playing like a Les Paul style guitar, I want mahogany.
Yep.
You know, but for a super strat, which is what I love, Alder or Swamp Ash.
Yeah. You know, that was the other thing that I probably should have opened the show with was, you know, I was gravitated to you because I feel that you and I have the exact same taste in guitars.
Yep.
I mean, like the exact same taste in guitars. You and I like the same shit.
Yep.
What's your favorite neck on a fret and fretboard? Like, what's your favorite? I assume it's maple, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, maple. Yeah.
Oh yeah. dark ebony board though.
Yep. Yep. I could probably answer these for you, but yes,
Probably.
I agree. Maple and if I get a really good ebony board, they're very fast and they feel really good. Favorite pickup? You can only pick one. This is actually tough. This is a tough one.
I'm gonna go with probably the Tone Zone.
Yeah, Tone Zone's a good choice.
Yeah, a lot of people complain about them being muddy. You just got to lower them.
Mm-hmm.
You think that pickup was part of the whole DiMarzio design with Ed and the Music Man thing. And if you've got an Axis on the wall, look how low those pickups are from the strings.
Yeah. Yep.
So people pop Tone Zones in and they got them, 2 millimeter below the strings, and they go, "Oh, it's muddy." Well, it needs to be about 4 to 5 millimeter. That's definitely a pickup you've got to play with the height on. And once you get it in that sweet spot, man, it's all there.
You know what's funny about that? So since I started this channel in May, right at the end of May, right at the beginning of June, and the questions I get about measurements, and usually it's what's pickup height? What do you set your pickups at? So I never knew what I set my pickups at. I just did it by ear, before I started working at John Sir. And then John had fretted on the last fret, 5/64 on the bass side, and 4/64 on treble.
Right.
So that got in my head, and I started doing it. I go, wow, these Sir pickups sound really good adjusted to that. And but I will say this is a great conversation because you can't have a measurement. You can't, and you're 100% correct about the Tone Zone. It's not a 5 and 4 64s pickup. You got to drop it a little bit because you are going to pull the mids and the lows out of that pickup being too close. So that's a very good thought process. And so if you do have that question, Sir was at 5/64 fretted on last fret, 5/64 on bass for humbucker, for bridge. I'm talking about bridge right now. 5/64 and 4/64 for treble, but again, and then plug the guitar in and play through it. Yep. And listen to it, and then dial in. Have your screwdriver there with you, and then dial it in, and then you'll be able to pull the most out of that pickup. I assume you're 9 to 42, right?
9 to 46.
9 to 46, so a hybrid.
Yep, for E and E flat, and then their respective drop Ds. I don't move up to 10s till I get down a whole step.
I'm 9 to 46 on Les Pauls.
Now my Les Paul is 10 to 48, but it's
really?
It's a whole step down. That's where that guitar needs to sit, as a whole step down. That's where it sings at.
Yeah.
So,
favorite album of all time and why?
Oh my God.
You can only have one.
Am I going to get beat up if it's not Van Halen?
No, who cares? No. Hey, did you watch Kurt's? You watched Kurt last week, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, well, I'm getting ready to answer or ask the last question, but did you hear his Mount Rushmore of guitar players?
Mm-hmm.
He was all over the place, man. Ain't nobody gonna get beat up here. It's awesome, man. It's cool. That's why I like asking questions. It's cool. So
I'm gonna say with my favorite album of all time is probably And Justice for All, Metallica.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool.
And mainly because as much as Ed has been and always will be my number one guy, learning to play, I got hooked on And Justice for All when I was learning how to play guitar, and it really shaped how my right hand is. Mm-hmm. Having to keep up with Hetfield's rhythm chops is no easy feat. No, that guy's a monster. Yeah. And people can say what they want about Kirk Hammett. He's gotten lazy over the years for sure, but he's written some great solos, and a lot of them are fairly difficult to play. But in that sense, it really helped me with rhythm, learning all that Metallica stuff, especially off that album, because that was kind of like their most intense, proggier kind of album. And it really helped form my rhythm playing where I could tackle other things. And then you start learning the Van Halen stuff, and it's like, okay, I get what Ed's doing here in this rhythm. And, you get past all his leads, and you're like, man, Ed's rhythm was just nuts. the tracks that the solo's overdubbed and there's a rhythm guitar track under it, like Mean Street's a great example.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to the rhythm guitar part under the Mean Street solo.
Yeah.
It's just locked in.
My buddy came over today, and Lou, the guy that did the Randy Rose stuff, we exchanged Christmas presents and stuff, and we're talking. And did you see the Dweezil Zappa of him playing Push Comes to Shove?
Yes.
Oh my God, that rhythm section. We never got to see Ed play that. I mean, I didn't get to see Ed play that. And watching Dweezil Zappa play that rhythm section of that, I was just locked in. And then he pulls the solo off. And we never got to see Ed play that solo.
Nope.
It's nuts to see those rhythm sections, man. I mean, on maybe it's fair warning. We just didn't get to see a lot of that because they didn't play a lot of that album.
No. I mean, they played what? Mean Street, So This Is Love, Hear About It Later, Unchained.
Yeah.
I don't think they played anything off that. Well, wait a minute. Didn't they play, was it Dirty Movies on like the 2015 tour?
They did play it on the new one. Yeah. That was cool to see that. But I mean, when I saw Zappa playing that, I was like, oh my God, man. Like, you never got to see him play it, Right. It's cool to see those. It's cool to see those chops. So I know what you're saying. So back to Kirk Hammett. So I got to say that I was never really into Metallica when I was younger. And when I got really into Metallica was what's the last two side they did, the tour before this one,
the Hardwired
to Self-Destruct, dude. Yep. I got into Metallica deep on that album. I got really into them, man.
In my opinion, that's actually a great album.
Yeah.
To me, that was more of a return to form for them than the album before it, Death Magnetic.
Yeah.
Of course, the thing that hurts Death Magnetic is that whole album is brick walled. It's so loud. Everything on that album is just extremely loud.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it kind of ruins it.
Did you watch the Gibson show with Kirk Hammett, the new one where he breaks his guitars out? You see, I think I just think that Kirk Hammett would be a cool hang.
Yeah.
Just to like hang out with him and talk guitars, because the guy knows what he's talking about guitar stuff. He's not stupid. He knows what he's looking for, and he knows what he wants, and it's really cool to listen to the guy.
Right. I would like to hang out with him because he says he lets anybody that wants to play Greenie play it. And I would love to play Greenie, not for the Kirk Hammett connection, but for the Gary Moore connection, because I'm a huge Gary Moore guy.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Actually, he came up today. We were talking about Gary Moore because the bomber guitar came from Gary Moore's shirt.
Yep.
And I couldn't remember what album it was. Do you remember what album that is?
It's either Corridors of Power or Victims of the Future. One of the two.
I think it's Corridors of Power. That strikes. So on the back of that, if you don't know, that's where the bomber guitar came from, because Warren saw him wearing that shirt.
Yep.
And the Charvel guy was painting his guitar. He goes, "What do you want on?" He goes, "Put this on it." And then they put the London writing on it, and Warren didn't even know what it was. Right. He went to Japan, and people are going, "Why is London on your guitar?" And he goes, "Oh, that's what that says." I didn't know what that said.
I had no idea.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Don't get kanji letters tattooed without a translator.
All right, I'm going to jump in the chat here for a second, pull these guys up because I don't want to get behind. Jean-Claude's in the chat. Hey, Jean-Claude, what's up, man? How you doing, man? Wall Cries is 42. Zach Dong, everybody's saying Yostinator. My last was an Esquire Custom.
Yost is always buying stuff too.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Andy Carson. Andy Carson, what's up, man? His last was a red 95 Ernie Ball Music Man. Hey, you know that black one I got?
Mm-hmm.
So they still have the red one. And they're on consignment. And we'll talk offline, but I don't want to say this. I can say this on the chat, but it kind of seems like I got the green light from the better half to say, if you want the red one, just go get it. I'm wondering if I should, just because it's just sitting over there, I mean, like the idea of those two guitars being together for as long as they were, and now they're separate, kind of is kind of messing me up. And I wonder if I should just go over there and grab it and just, because I'm not going to lose my money on a red Ernie Ball Van Halen.
Right.
I mean, I don't think I would pay too much either, because those guitars they're continuing to go up. So, look at, what's that? Go ahead.
Andy's also got a, what's up, Andy, by the way? That's everybody's favorite fireman, Chattanooga Station 5. Andy's got a pretty sweet clone. I think it's a clone that Craig from CHS Customs did for him. This blue. Got a sick quilt top on it, man. That thing's great.
I need to talk to that guy, CHS, Craig. I hit him up to refinish my gold top Wolfgang.
Okay.
Because those PVs, the gold was not good.
No, it was not.
And mine's chipping off. And I was going to have him do it. And I probably hit him up a couple of years ago. And I said, hey, are you available? He goes, I'm swamped. And then probably about 6 months ago, he hit me up and said, hey, I'm available. And I just didn't go after it because I was just doing other stuff. But I need to hit that guy up and get him to refinish my gold, because it is just, it's not going too well. It's not doing too well, especially around the bridge.
He's definitely a dude I would recommend to do that, because he does so, you see it on Facebook and all the people that use him. Craig does phenomenal finish work, and he restores or refinishes like the EBMMs and all that stuff, and does a great job.
No,
I've said enough good things about Craig, and he's a hell of a nice guy.
Yeah, I've seen his work on Instagram, and it's good stuff. By the way, forgot to had some stuff go on in my house, and for the holidays, and my son was supposed to come out here. Well, we ended up going out there and to California because his pet was sick, and so I got a chance to stop by Instrumental Music in Thousand Oaks. Johnny, if you're watching, Johnny at Instrumental Music Thousand Oaks, that's where Doug Aldrich got his start when he came to California teaching guitar.
Oh, nice.
So I sat in there and talked to Johnny. I've been going to Johnny's shop because my kid lives in Simi Valley. And we've been going to Johnny's shop for years now, just going in there. And then I'm watching an interview with Doug Aldrich, and he said, yeah, Johnny at Instrumental Guitar, gave me a shot at doing lessons. And I go, whoa, wait a minute. So the next time I went in, I go, hey, Johnny, is that true about Doug Aldrich? He goes, oh, yeah, I gave Doug his first job when he got to California. He said, I still talk to him. And I was like, that's really cool. So shout out to Johnny at Instrumental Guitar. Check out Instrumental Guitar. He's a cool Charvel EVH dealer, and very mom and pop. And I'm very happy that the mom and pop shops are surviving.
Oh, yeah. You said Charvel, so that's the magic word for me.
Yeah, yep, I agree. John DeShane says mahogany. Mahogany for John, your sir is not mahogany. That is surely not mahogany. So what does John have that's mahogany?
Isn't the Pete Thorne mahogany?
No, I think it is. I think you're right. I'm going to get that new Pete Thorne, the one with the Floyd Rose. You see that?
Yeah.
With the FU tone bridge. I'm going to get that guitar. I'm going to get it. It's just a matter of when am I going to get it, because they can't stock them, and I'm not buying anything anymore unless I can put eyes on it and make sure that it's not all jacked up. The string alignment isn't off. I'm not doing that no more. I ain't doing it. Let's see here. Let's start with the questions for Randy. Let's go. Randy hates my set. His set of what? What's he talking about?
Probably his string gauges.
Oh,
he plays like telephone wires or something.
Oh, really? Yeah. Yeah, like Zach Wild.
Wound G strings and all that.
Randy has a monster right hand. Oh, this is probably going back to the Metallica. This is going back to Metallica stuff. That's what that's going back to. Master of Puppets is easily my fave. Master of Puppets. So I'm. Oh, that's funny. He says that. So I'm on eBay the other day, and a picture pops up. It says June 17th, 1988, Pontiac Silverdome. Before Van Halen goes on, it's a picture, 8x10 picture.
Monsters of Rock.
And I go, I was there, and like the picture was taken. And then, like, if you looked over, you saw where I was sitting. And I go, I was right there. So I bought the picture just for the hell of it.
Nice.
And, because I was there, man. I mean, I was there that day. And that was really cool to see that picture, because Silverdome's gone. They leveled Silverdome now. And but I got to see that tour. Master of Puppets was the Monsters of Rock tour. So, yeah, I remember that. I remember they were on fire, man. I remember they were on fire.
Yep.
John DeShane, Moth into Flame. Great tune, right?
Yep.
I mean, Hardwired to Self-Destruct is like, Now That We're Dead.
Oh, I love that song.
Oh my God, it's so cool, man. I mean, that's a great album, man. I mean, it's funny. It took me that long to get in, and then that's when I went through my Kirk Hammett phase. I bought the Nosferatu. Yep. I bought the what's the other one? I bought the purple. Zombie. I bought the white zombie, the purple, and the black. I had the real ESP and the black. The other ones were LTDs, I think. But either way, the LTDs are great. So. Oh. And I wasn't going to go throw money at those ESPs because those are neck throughs. Those right. His are. Let's see here. Everybody's talking chat with herself. Yosnader says I want him to stealth stripe of my 5150. Probably CHS. He's talking about.
He's done some stealth stripe jobs on some Wolfgangs and some 5150s that look killer.
I saw a guy the other day put a stripe. It was on Instagram. And it was out of wood, different colors of wood for the stripes.
Yeah. I've seen. Did
you see that?
Pretty awesome.
I mean, oh my God! I was like, man, that took some time. That's some skill there. John says Thorn mahogany is E flat. Yeah. Yep. Thorn is mahogany. Yep. It's like AP's in the chat. Here we go. Youngster says, "Who's your favorite?" Oh, yeah. Was it? Was that from Tommy Boy? Who's your favorite Little Rascal? Was it? What do you say? Or was it Spanky? I'm probably dating myself.
I haven't seen Tommy Boy in like 2 or 3 years.
Great movie, man.
I love that movie.
R2 says 5150 Yostinator. Right. That's awesome. I think we're kind of behind in the chat. Hey, Yostinator, thanks for being here, bro. Bird Tiger is still a cool one. Yeah, dude, yeah, I saw your Bird Tiger on the that's a cool guitar. So you've had that one for a minute?
Yeah, I've had that one probably I think February will be 2 years I've had that guitar. That guitar's got a little interesting story behind it. I bought it off Reverb because I just thought they were cool and I wanted to play that big Lynch neck. Those necks are really wide. Mm-hmm. And they're kind of chunky for how wide they are, in my opinion. But I got it, took it out of the case. It looked mint. And the first thing I did was take that stupid skull knob off of it because the volume knob's like a metal skull.
That's why I sold mine.
And I took it off. I kept it. I've still got it. And I just put a regular knurled black knob on it and started setting it up and get it all tuned up. And it took forever to tune because it's a floating Floyd. I'm like, it's taking a little bit longer than normal. Mm-hmm. And I got it tuned up and locked in. And first dive bomb I did.
Were the posts pulling out?
First dive bomb I did, it came back and it was whacked out.
Oh, God.
So I was like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And so, you stretch the strings, make sure the nut is tight to the neck and make sure the clamps are, all that kind of stuff. And then I just happened to notice that the post on the low E side was pulling backwards. So I slacked the strings and took the Floyd off, and there was a crack going from the low E post towards the trim cavity.
Okay.
So I had my guy, Willie Houston, who used to work at Charvel. He drilled it, put some black walnut in to dowel it or to use as dowels and re-drilled it, man. And it's rock solid now.
Yeah, it's good.
So
what is that body? It's probably alder, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
It's alder with the maple neck and the ebony. It's got a Macassar ebony board on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm fairly sure it's alder.
We used to, we epoxied the Floyd posts in at Sir.
Yeah.
All the Floyd posts were epoxied. So, I mean, if you don't know that, or if you're doing a project, I would epoxy my posts in. I always epoxy them in. I was going to ask you another question about that. Oh, that's why I sold my Burnt Tiger. I just couldn't shake it. I was like, that volume knob's weird. And if I take the volume knob off, it's not original anymore. And I just got kind of weird about it.
Right.
So then I took time off last year and I sold a bunch of guitars. And that was one of the ones that I decided to roll. But hey, speaking of, hold on a second.
Da-da-da-da. Oh yeah.
She's here. I haven't had a chance to go through it yet, but my buddy came over today and he was playing through my guitar. It's heavy. I'd say it's probably 9 pounds, but it's maple.
Is that a maple? Yeah.
Yeah, it's maple. And but my buddy came over today. Dude, this thing is so buttery, and I haven't even touched it yet. So it's going to set up well, I think. The cool thing about this one is I had been looking for one forever, and this one's got that Hunter pickup in it. I didn't want the Screaming Demon.
No, the Screaming Demon ain't screaming at nothing.
They're screaming at nothing. And I was like, and it's so funny because like the day before I bought this, I was looking at the one that's on Reverb for $39.99, and I was talking to the guy. Hey, what can we do? And we were just off. We were hundreds off. And I said, buddy, I just can't throw that kind of money at that guitar. I'm sorry, man. And then I was thinking I was going to go back to him the next day and hit him, for maybe, split the middle or whatever. And then this one pops up, and I immediately attacked the guy, just started bombarding him. And I hit him and he declined. And then I hit him again. And then I emailed him and I go, hey, bro, what is the number? And then he said, I think I got this for 33. And he said, no, 31. Either way, it was in low threes. And I negotiated with him over message. I wasn't going to keep burning my opportunities to hit it, at offers.
Right. Because you only get 5 or something.
Yeah,
like
something
that
like that. I was like, hey, bro, can we just work this out? Because I really want the guitar, and it's going to a good home, and but and then he texted me and said, it's brand new. He goes, I never played it. He said I bought it solely just to have, and then he left me feedback and said, hey, if you ever want to sell it, just let me know. So he may have had some regret after he let it go. So I'm going to set it up. Probably I'm actually going to do a video. So I have this and the interestingly enough, I have the GL 600 MT.
So those are pretty much identical.
This is why they stopped doing them.
Yep. Because
I matched this guitar the other day when I got it, and this GL 600, this thing plays just as good as I'm messed up right now. But anyways, the GL 600 MT is really the one to have for the bang for the buck.
Mm-hmm. Now you've seen the Edwards versions popping up here recently.
Yeah.
They're what, just shy of $2,000?
Yeah,
something like that, made in Japan. They've got the Edwards version of the Kamikaze and the Tiger and the Purple Tiger as well.
Well, from what I understand, that guy's an ESP guy anyways. Edwards is. He's like, that's like
Edwards is like, Edwards used to be on par with LTD, but they're only sold in Japan. And then they have like the lower end, which is Grassroots. And now that they've turned the ESP standard series to E2, your Edwards stuff is pretty much on par with the E2 stuff. So it's kind of like in the middle of LTD and then your Japan custom shop. Or your Japan, I guess everything now that's ESP is Japan custom shop, since they have the USA shop now too. Yeah, I did notice the like the stuff on the back's different now. Signature series, like everything, because I've had these probably 3 or 4 times over, the M1, and they were different. But these guitars just feel fantastic. And then my buddy comes over today, plays through, probably 5, 6 of my guitars. He goes, best playing guitar you got's that new ESP. And I was like, oh my God, man. I said, and it's not even set up yet. So I'll do a video on the comparison, because I think that'd be a good video to have on YouTube floating around, because there's no comparison video. There's no comparison video of the GL 600 MT and the M1 Tiger, because I looked for it. Because I mean, that was a point of, for me, going, okay, do I really want to spend the money on an M1, having the 600 MT, or will the 600 MT suffice? And I'm telling you, I mean, I'm not going to sell this guitar because I'll probably keep this one forever. But the 600 MT, that thing, if you blindfolded me, I probably would get it wrong, going back and forth. They're that close.
Yeah, I would probably get it wrong. And like you said, super wide neck. You can see both sides of the wood on the nut. So that's a 111/16. So I could probably put an R5 on there.
Yeah, it's an R5 shelf with an R3
Yep.
nut.
Yep. I could probably put an R5 on there, but I mean the overhang. I probably wouldn't want to do. I might try it. Maybe I'll try it just on the video, shoot the video, and then put an R5 on there and see if it fits. It probably will, but it's also going to push everything over on the alignment, and the alignment's right where I want it. It's perfect. There's real estate on both sides of those bass and treble. So yeah, so she got here safely. So yeah, dude, Lynch is just. Did I tell you that I hit him up on one of those custom builds, the Mr. Scary guitars?
Yeah,
the Bengals.
Those things are astronomical.
That cat wants $12,000 for one of those. She was like, no. She goes, I'm telling you no. And I was like, all right, well, moving on.
Well, I guess I'm not getting one of those.
I guess I'm not getting one of those. Let's see here. Boner Jams is in the chat. He said he's going to collapse from fallopian tubes and make a dream wish come true this weekend. Is that true?
He said he heard I was going to collapse in fallopian tubes.
Oh,
whatever you say, dude.
He's always got something good up his sleeve.
I love that guy. I love me some Brian Boner Jams.
Okay, so Darren is my DeMartini buddy. Him and I are huge Warren fans, and he's been on your show too because I've seen him in the chat on your show. Don't you have some custom wound pickups that are made for you?
I do.
Yeah,
I do. So my tech luthier, all around nice guy, Willie Houston, owns a pickup company called Rocket Pickups. He started as a assembler at Charvel in '83, and worked there till like '89 or '90, something like that. And by the mid '80s, he was an assembler and a pickup winder. So he has his own pickup company, and pretty much whatever I just kind of tell him I'm in the mood for, he'll wind it for me. So,
by the way, I hit him up, and he never responded to me on Instagram.
I'll have to yell at him. So
next time you see him, say, "Hey, man, you got some money sitting in your Instagram account."
I'll have to yell at him.
Yeah.
But yeah, he if you ever like the old Jackson J80 pickups, the Alnico 5 ones, not the ceramics, the J80As, his pickup, the flamethrower, is a J80A, same pickup that Joe Holmes uses.
Oh, cool.
The old J80 Alnicos. That's his flamethrower pickup. He makes Joey Allen from Warrant's signature pickup. The black and tan, I think it's called. He's got some cool hot PAFs. The pickups in my Les Paul, I had him make because I was not digging those 60s burst buckers at all. They're super microphonic.
I'm not a fan of the burst buckers, man. Not my thing.
No, I think the custom buckers, like what's in Ryan's 59 VOS, I think they're awesome. But those 60s burst buckers, man, I couldn't get them out of that guitar fast enough. I think I had that Les Paul like 3 hours and was texting Willie, "Hey, man, I need some pickups for a Les Paul."
Well, make sure you hit him up for me and tell him that to get hold of me, because I ordered I'm pretty sure I ordered the neck and bridge. I'm pretty sure. Rocket Pickups. Brady Price sent me over. Interested in a Sonic single for the neck and black, and a Trem Space flamethrower and zebra.
Okay.
So have them text me back, and I'll buy a couple pickups of them, and then I'll throw them in number 4. Hear how they sound, and I'll throw them in something good. I'm getting the urge to do a build. I want to do a build. I just don't know what I'm going to do yet. So maybe I'll throw those pickups in it if I end up getting them from them. And then, that'll be a cool build. R2's here. Let's see here. Everybody's saying hello to each other. And Charvel guy is everywhere.
I am.
That's
CMR
hilarious.
affectionately calls me Charvel guy.
Charvel guy.
Because
you're not wrong with that, man.
Of the time, that's what I'm playing, or some variant of one.
What about the Kamikaze no graphic? What's that? What do you?
There's a white no graphic Kamikaze.
Oh yeah,
on Reverb, and the price is getting lower and lower, and I'm like, stop it! Stop lowering that price for me.
Did you see the black one where the headstock's cracked in half?
Broke. Yep.
Yeah. I was looking at that one because that one's a good price. And I was like, oh, I'm going after this one. I got to the 5th picture and I was like, oh my God, what happened?
And you know, it's one of those too. It was repaired and it's like, well, I mean, you can still tell that broke.
Yeah.
And
well, the good thing is it's stronger than it was when it was wood.
If it was done right.
If it was done right, and that's what you don't know.
Right.
So that's why.
Dude just picked the end of the headstock up and glued it back on, or was it doweled, or
back to your back to the Burnt Tiger. That pickup's a distortion, right?
Not in mine.
What's in yours?
Mr. Scary, Arcane Mr. Scary.
Oh yeah.
I took the distortion out of it because I hate the distortion.
Yeah.
That's not one of my favorite pickups by any means.
That's what that Hunter pickup is. It's an overdriven distortion. It's an overwound distortion. Yep. So
now they're marketing it as the Exciter.
Yeah, the Exciter pickup. Yeah. I bought one just to buy one, and then I've got a bunch of those Arcanes. So I think Lynch was born in 59, and they came out with they said they built 10 of them, and it said 1959 on the bobbin. So I bought one of those. So I've got a bunch of those Arcane Mr. Scaries. Those are great pickups, man. That's what's in that brown guitar, that brown one I built. Yep. Those are great pickups, man. Great pickups.
After I got the Floyd thing settled out on that, I was like, all right, well, I'm not vibing with this Duncan distortion. So, and it just so happened because they do those Mr. Scary editions in batches.
Yeah. Yep.
And I just happened to look and see, and Rob Timmons had put a post up saying that it was like in 2 days, there's going to be a batch of Mr. Scaries on the eBay store. So if you want one, head to eBay in 2 days. So I was there, and I bought it's the Relict Black. Yep. And you get your little card signed by George.
Signed by George, yeah. Yep. We're so stupid for that shit. It's funny, but it just never gets old for me, man. Right. Never gets old. Never gets old with George Lynch.
No, dude's a monster.
John DeShane at 40, and Randy, what do you guys suggest for my next guitar? So I know that John doesn't like Floyd's. So John's not a Floyd guy.
You're asking 2 Floyd guys.
Well, he's got some nice guitars. That head first head he got sounds good too.
Yeah, it does.
So
especially all the tweaking him and Jason Tong have done to that with his rig. Sounds really good.
Yeah. Did he get rid of that SL68, that Mod 2D? He sold it?
Yeah, he sold it.
Huh. Man.
Said it sounded great, but it was too hard to play.
Yeah. Just like the Soldano for me. Soldanos are just too. They're dead. I can't get my tone through that Hot Rod 50. Now I was thinking about getting that new Soldano pedal for the SLO pedal, and then run it through the 50, and then just tweak it. You know what I'm saying? Tweak it. To see if I can find something good with that. There's something I was throwing on. John, I don't know what to tell you, bro. If it were me, your next guitar should be that new Pete Thorne with the Floyd Rose.
We've brought that up.
Yeah. Yeah. Because when Pete came out with that guitar, I was like, they need to market that. Because Pete didn't have Floyd Roses on his stuff. And I was like, as soon as they market that, I'm going to get one. And then magically he markets it. So I will definitely get one. And that charcoal sparkle is really cool.
Yeah.
That paint on that guitar is badass.
Yeah, and it's not overly sparkly like a bass boat finish either. I mean, it works with that charcoal color. If he'd have done like a blue or orange or something, it'd have been like bass boat. And that's not my thing. I know a lot of people like the sparkle stuff, but that's like an instant for me. Yeah. Yeah. I think he should go after the Pete Thorne with the
Floyd Rose. All right, let's see. Watching. He's been watching the white one too. It's funny. I think we all watch the same. I think we all watch the same shit. You know what? Here, let's just get to it. Let's see here. Let's just get to it. Let's see here. So I got a couple that I pulled that I'm watching with you, I think.
Ryan says John needs a Steinberger. That's on my watch list. Yes, it is.
Okay, so hey, remember when you said you walk into a guitar shop and you got that for $650?
Yep.
So I went down to Apache Junction, which is a little bit southeast of Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
This was at a pawn shop, and I got it for $900. And I brought it home, set it up, had a custom 5 and a jazz in it, which was stock. Hey, all the solder joints were stock. I set it up and it played fantastic. And it had a small chip. It had a small chip like right up in like on the side up here.
Right.
And that was it. And then I sold it to a guy in California. I still talk to him. His name's Eric. And he's a huge Charvel collector. And he bought it for me, and I sold it for $1,800. And that was probably 3 years ago. And I should text him to see if he still got that guitar. But I am watching this one. Not that I'll buy it. I just want to see what it goes for.
It's not the guy that owns Eric's guitar shop, is it?
I don't know that answer.
There's a dude in maybe Sherman Oaks, LA area.
Yeah. His name's Eric.
A guy named Eric, and he owns Eric's guitar shop. He's Joe Holmes' guitar tech, and he's a huge Charvel guy.
Well, this guy wasn't a guitar tech, because I remember talking guitars with him, and he didn't really. He didn't have the lingo. You know, when you start talking to a guitar guy and they know what they're talking about versus they don't know what they're talking about.
Right.
So this guy didn't know what he was talking about. So I don't think that's him.
That's probably not.
No, this guy showed me a warehouse where he had all of his guitars on display. And I was like, my God. I mean, you could tell the guy had money. And he said that was in his house. And it was an addition they put on. It was like a warehouse of just nothing but guitars. And that guy had some nice stuff, man. He had a Kramer Stagemaster, a single humbucker, which you never see those anymore.
Nope.
In pink. And I said, hey, man, I'll buy a Stagemaster. Whatever number you say, I'll buy it. And he said, no, I can't. And then last time I talked to him, I was chasing a high-end guitar. Oh, it was the Splatter, the Jackson Splatter. Okay. I had a lead on a Jackson Splatter, and it was in Europe. And I was going to buy it. The guy wanted $25,000 for it. And, we were talking about it. And I didn't end up doing it, but I remember that's the last time I talked to him. I called him. I said, what do you think? And he goes, it's difficult to put a number on that guitar, bro. Because if you're not a Def Leppard fan, it means nothing. Right. If you're a Def Leppard fan, then it's a cool guitar. So
they did what, 30 of those plus the 10 artist proof ones?
Yeah, see, I got messed up when I watched the video when he's numbering them and like splattering them. I got really into that. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
So, but this is on the radar for myself. And then let's see what else I got.
That is not on mine.
I gotta tell you, man. I mean, this is like one of those guitars that at some point in my life, I feel like I gotta have.
Right.
I don't know why. And I'm really not even that big of a Vi fan, but I just feel like I gotta have it. And I don't know if it's smart, because I think those were $3,500 when they sold new. But the original ones are $12,000 now, 10 to 12,000. So I don't know, but I think that's a cool guitar. So that one's on the radar. And then I got one in here. I had one in here for you. Is this it? No, that's not it. That one's cool.
I've seen that one. It's not on my watch list.
That's cool. Man, I put that in here. Here we go. Here you go, Randy.
Yep, it's on my watch list.
Is it?
There's two of them. There's one with a maple. There's one with a maple bird's eye, roasted bird's eye maple fretboard as well, around that same price. It doesn't have gold hardware either, but I have that one and that guitar we're looking at on my watch list.
Yeah, that one's sharp. I saw that one and I go, Randy'd want this one. And that's funny. You got it on your watch list. That's a good one. And it even says great value.
It's a custom shop for $2,800. It's pretty good. I think that's the guy that bought like 10 Charvels. Yeah, 73 records. Yeah. So the story on that is he bought like 10 custom shop Charvels to do some studio work with. And now he's just selling them. Like things have barely been played.
Really?
He's got that one. He's got a Guthrie Govan and he had a couple other that I think have sold. And then there's somebody else is selling. It's pretty much identical, but it's got chrome hardware and it's got a roasted maple neck and fretboard.
What pickups are in it?
Price. I think it's.
Just have it listed. But I'm sure they're original. They're probably.
If they're the same as the other one, it's going to be a Super Distortion and a PAF Pro in the neck.
Yep. Yeah, they're DiMarzio's.
100% DiMarzio's.
That one isn't.
That is not a Super Distortion. The neck definitely is.
Yeah, for sure. Charvel likes to do the custom 5 in those, man. I wonder if it's a custom 5. Custom 5 is by far my favorite Duncan pickup, for sure. Custom 5 is good. It's just a custom pickup with an Alnico 5, if you don't know.
Right. You got the customs of ceramic, the custom customs an A2, and the custom 5's the A5. And then you got the custom 59 hybrid.
The custom was the Van Halen.
Right.
Alnico 2.
It's almost identical to the Frankenstein pickup. I think they used a different wire insulation on the Frankenstein pickup.
I bought one of those Frankenstein Pluses, and I haven't done anything with it yet.
I'm not a fan. I haven't played the Plus, but I'm not a fan of the Frankenstein pickup. Or
I am not either.
Custom. I'm not big on A2 magnet pickups. They get a little, for me, they get a little fizzy.
I went to let me fix this. I went to Vegas. We go out to Vegas because she likes going to Vegas, and I like going to Vegas too, but that's her thing. And we go to I go to Ed Roman. I always pop in. Right. I hit like a couple shops. Ed Roman is like going to a funeral home, bro. I mean, like, it's so odd when I go in there because there's nobody ever there. And it's just odd. They have the same stuff all the time, and it's very quiet and very odd. But for some reason, I keep going there. I don't know why, but they have one of those Ed Roman striped. Remember when he was doing those and glossing over them and buffing them? So he's got one of those in a shadow box as soon as you walk in. So I like going in there and looking at it. It's pretty cool to look at. And then, but I went in there one time, and they go, well, we have our own custom. And I go, oh, really? And he goes, yeah, they call them blackbacks. And I go, well, can I see one of them? And sure enough, he brought it out. It's a black mounting plate, blackback mounting plate. And he goes, Duncan does this exclusively for us. And I said, well, will you sell me one? And, just because I like having pickups, just so I have something to dig through, And he goes, no, they only come in our guitars, in those J Frogs. And I go, all right, man. And he goes, actually, you know what? I'll sell you one. So, yeah, I figured. And then, but I haven't done anything with it. It's an Alnico 2 custom. It's in the pickup box back there. Maybe one day I'll do something with it. I haven't wired a custom in a long time. I should do that just to see how it is. I mean, but we're all stuck in our ways now, bro. I mean, Alnico are the Alnico 5's that's my magnet.
Absolutely.
And I mean, I just I might be too far gone. I might be too far gone by now.
Aside from the Super 3, I'm definitely an A5 guy.
Yeah.
Did you see that,
you and I are on the same sheet of paper.
You see that
What's that?
question? Did you see that question Diamond Dave asked about the brass block on a Charvel?
Let me see here. Can you highlight him, or is it just me?
It's just you.
Damn it. Okay, hold on a second. Diamond Dave.
I have an answer to that, but I'm sure you have a better answer.
Oh, here we go. This one?
Yep.
You guys have any issues with a big brass block fitting in a Charvel USA? Picked up a 2008 San Dimas and the big block is flush again. No, I know what that is. So,
yep.
What is it, Randy? I know what it is. What is it?
The poster not in the right spot.
You are 100% correct. Let's pull out the DeMartini Bomber. So, look where the saddles are sitting on that guitar. Look how far back they are.
Yep.
So that's your problem. This one has a regular block in it because the posts are not in the right place. So if you look at the newer ones, the Floyd Rose sitting back further, and then it intonates correctly. I mean, not that this is intonated. Don't beat me up. It's not that this isn't intonated correctly. The bridge is not in the right place. So the guitar is functional. It does intonate, and it's all good. But your problem, sir, is they're not in the right place. Hey, as is that one.
Because this is a 2010. I don't remember when they finally corrected that.
Yeah.
I don't know. So
that target that
there you go. There's your gap between the Floyd and the pickup on this one. You can see it now.
Yeah. Yeah, look how far back that saddle is.
Yep. My 2010 Japanese SoCal, the low E, I was going to put a detune on it, and I can't because the saddle was actually hitting the whale tail. I don't have full range of that fine tuner.
Well, so this is my recommendation. I mean, everybody can do what they want to do. Just leave the stock block in it, because if you start hogging on the front, now you're narrowing the area to where if you start torquing on your bridge, you might find your post going into the pickup cavity.
Yep.
So you don't want to hog out on that area there. So what I'd recommend is, which is what I did on this one, I just left it the stock block, and I love swapping the blocks. I love it. On this one, I could not do it, and I won't do it. So yeah, so that's what the problem is. 2008, 2010. I think this one was 08. I think this one is 08. The DeMartini. So yeah, they're all in the same thing. So all in the same area. Someone like Haas could make a TT thing.
Trans trim. Ryan's trying to convince John into buying a Steinberg.
Where's Ryan at? Oh, there he is. Hey Ryan, what's up, bro? How you doing, man? I think Ryan's next on my list to come on. I'm bringing him on, and then I've got an idea. I got a really cool idea that I'm gonna put together here.
You want to see an Ibanez collection? Get Jimmy on. Jimmy Biter.
Jimmy Biter.
That he's bought like 6 new Ibanezes in the last freaking 3 weeks.
I wonder what his take is on that Loch Ness Green, that Vi. I wonder what his take is on that.
He probably.
I don't see him. Yostinator says, "Love me a vanilla shake." Yeah, man, I got that vanilla shake chub tone, man, and that's a great guitar, man.
I love that guitar.
John DeShane says, "Love me some Guthrie." Hey, those Guthries are nice, man. I just can't come to buy one of those because I was the one. I don't know if I was the one, but I remember going to work with the Guitar World because I just got it in the mail. And I had Guthrie with the Charvel. And I walked into work that day and I go, "Hey, John," or "Hey, Mike, check this out." I went to Mike Ponce. I go, "Hey, Mike, check it out. Guthrie's playing a Charvel." And he goes, "What?" And then he goes, "Let me hold on to this." And then he showed it to John when John got to work, and that didn't go over well. And so I can't get myself to go buy one of those Guthries just because if I was going to buy a Guthrie, I'd probably buy the Sir,
Yep. Diamond Dave says that his posts are further back than yours.
Really?
So that leads into my other diagnosis. Has the Floyd been replaced? Is it a newer Floyd or somebody put an 84 Floyd on it? Because they had a run there of German Floyds, or maybe German Floyds. We don't really know because they were made in that transition period between Floyd leaving Schaller, where some of the OFRs and the 84 reissues, the blocks on those sit like 2 millimeter further forward and they will hit the body of the guitar. It's been corrected, but I saw I forget who, I think Donnie Ward from Lock Guitars and Vestige Guitars is the one that told me that, because I ran into that with an 84 Floyd, putting it in a guitar, and it was the same thing. The block would not clear the body, and the bridge is just sitting there like that, you know. And he's like, check it. He goes, they moved the block screws forward like 1 millimeter or 2 millimeter or something like that. It doesn't sit where it should. And it's been corrected since, but there is a run of those. I don't know, probably a year or so.
So the Floyd Roses, I have not gotten one of the new Floyd Roses yet, but I went out to California for Christmas, like I said. And then I'm sitting there on Christmas Eve and I'm just going through OfferUp and Craigslist because that's what I do, you know?
Right.
Especially when I'm in LA, because there's always a good find, you know? And then a guy selling the original Floyd Rose for $120. Tried this on my EVH and it didn't work, so I'm selling it. So I said, well, I'll buy it. So I go to buy it. I walk in and the guy said, I have tried this nut. This nut is too tall. And I go, let me see the nut. And he hands me the nut. And it's got the it's the new Floyd. Yep. So the new Floyd nuts are taller.
Yep.
And the saddles on the new Floyds are taller. So you're going to have to adapt because they're not going back to Schaller. It's over. And the Floyd Rose I got from him, it's sitting right there. It was made in Germany. So I brought it home. I put a brass block on it. And it's just going to be an extra one to have, because if you can get a Floyd Rose for $120, a German made, right, you better grab it. You better grab it because they're $200 now, you know, and you know, if not more. And but be careful with the new stuff. Yep. Be careful with the new stuff because it's not like it used to be for us throughout how many years, where I mean, direct for our entire guitar life, where it was a direct replacement. Mm-hmm. It was direct. There was never a problem. There's going to be the direct replacement problems now. So we're just going to have to adapt, and we're going to have to adapt and overcome. Yosnader says my favorite, probably talking about the Bomber. What do y'all think about the JB? I love the JB. I think a JB is a cool pickup. I mean, it's timeless. I mean, you got to respect it, in my opinion, because that's a guitar that we grew up with.
Right.
You know, but then you get out of the rabbit hole and you're like, okay, let me try this. Let me try that. Let me try this. Would I go back to a JB now? Depends on the guitar. I got guitars that I left the JB in because it just sounds good, you know?
The JB was my go-to pickup forever. And then I discovered I've got an old JBJ and swapped one in. And I'm like, man, this JB doesn't sound like this JB or this JB.
Yep.
So I started doing some research, and when Seymour Duncan started CNCing their pickups, they did a magnet swap. It's still an Alnico 5, but all from like 92 to now, all your JBs have a polished Alnico 5 magnet in it, whereas all the old ones have a rough cast. And people complain about the highs on the newer JBs getting kind of ice picky or harsh. That's due to the polished A5. So if I ever bought a new JB, it would get swapped with I'd get on StewMac or something and buy a rough cast A5 magnet and swap it.
I didn't know that. That's cool. Oh, well, that's cool. Very nice. Okay, so his post, I would like to, so here, let's do this. Send me an email. I'd like to see pictures of that guitar just so I can put some eyes on it. See where is it intonated? If it is intonated, leave everything where it is. Send me some pictures. I like to see it. And then if you can get a picture of underneath where the block's sitting, I'd like to see like a side view of where the block's sitting in relation to the guitar body. I like to, you know, so you guys can email me directly, 40gritguitars@gmail.com. And I always appreciate I'll go into work sometimes and I'll have emails in there. People just ask me questions and it's cool. So I appreciate it. Let's go. Okay, let's see. Where was I? Yeah, Diamond Dave. Okay, tell about your rigs, past and present. Okay, talk about your break. So you and I were talking about this in the green room right before you went on. So, it's all yours. Go ahead.
You want the current setup or?
Yeah, start with current because you go through a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
you're a tone chaser, so
yeah, and it's ever evolving. And now I'm into something new, completely new to me. So when I started playing with the OU 812 guys almost a year ago. It's been over a year since the first time I come on as a guest or whatever. I didn't have like a good way to get in digitally. So I was just running one of those Yamaha THR 32s and was using a mic on it, and it was okay. And then I bought the Rodecaster Pro 2 and was just running it stereo direct into it. And it's digital. It sounds digital. You know, it's got that digital haze because it's not a fractal or anything like that. I think those are great, but you can tell digital from analog. So here recently, I bought, and Jimmy Biter's huge help with this. I'd be lost without him. I'd be emailing Dave Friedman every day. But so what I'm doing now is I got a Synergy set up. I got the Syn 2, which is the preamp that holds two modules. It's got 112AX7 in it, and I got the Syn 2 over the Syn 1 because the Syn 2 has stereo outs, and it's got a stereo return effects loop on it. And I think the Syn 1 is just mono. But so right now I'm running a pretty much analog rig except for the cab sim that's built in, and it's Dave's go-to cab is what they use for that cab sim. The one I forget, John knows what Dave calls that cab, Dave Friedman. And, but that's what they based the built-in cab sim on. But so now, as of current, I'm running the Fryette Deliverance module and the Inkle Powerball. I've got the BE Deluxe module en route, should be here next week. And I've got a pedal train pedal board in front of me with the True Tone CS7 power supply. So currently my signal goes guitar into the Dunlop John Petrucci wah, into the Greer Lightspeed overdrive, and then an MXR Smart Gate, and then into the front of the Syn 2. And then the effects loop, it comes out mono into an old school, early 2000s, late 90s Digitech multi-chorus, which I have it set for just like a widening effect. It's got a real slow, like the rates all the way down, and it just widens it up. And from there, it comes out stereo and goes into the TC Electronics Mimic pedal, which is a doubler, just to make it even bigger. And now the Mimic, it's going into the Boss SDE3 for my delay. And I've got the dual delay, so it ping pongs. And then back into the effects loop of the Syn 2, and then stereo out XLRs to channels 3 and 4 in the Rodecaster.
Okay.
And then the two channels are paired in the Rodecaster, and then pan left right with some very minor EQing I've done in the Rodecaster. Like I said, I've had this for like a month and a half now, so I'm still playing with it and trying dialing things in and experimenting. I've got a couple other things that are going to be en route that's going to go in the effects loop. Because the reverb in the Rodecaster, it's good for vocals, but for instruments, it's shit. So I've got a reverb, and I'm actually going to add a Boss, the Dimension C, in between the multi-course and the Mimic for another option for widening, because you can't get wide enough.
Yeah.
And a couple other things. I was looking at that custom audio electronics wah that Dunlop's doing, which is kind of stupid because the Petrucci wah it's literally the rack wah in a pedal. You take the back cover off and you've got all the trim pots, the gain boost. You can, it's got the pot to adjust the Q setting on the wah. So, I mean, it's literally, they took the rack wah and put it in a pedal. So you can pull the back of it off and adjust all that. But that's currently how it's running, and everything is subject to change.
I would watch you guys and you would constantly be changing stuff. And I'm like, I wish I could figure out, and I got that Roadcaster and then I got the Friedman IRJ at the same time. And I was amazed that it was just, I mean, I am direct from guitar into guitar into IRJ into Roadcaster. And in my opinion, I think that thing sounds fantastic.
It does. It sounds even better when you turn your your echo cancellation off and have it on so it'll do stereo audio. But if we turn it off, we'll be sitting here echoing like crazy. So
echoing, yeah. We were echoing like crazy when it first started. But I got to tell you, I mean, like being like the novice guy of playing on the internet, I thought I'd never figure it out. I mean, it's so nice just to have. I pulled a 412 cabinet out that I had sitting back there, one of my EVH cabs, put the Roadcaster on top of it, sitting next to it is my IRJ, and I'm good.
Yep.
It's fine. If I had to play, it sounds fantastic. I'm
just glad I didn't have to play that riff for once.
Yeah. I kind of felt obligated because Darren was asking for it. So
Darren, I play that riff like every show. Dan Gorman, one of our regular viewers and channel members, is always we call it the Dan Gorman riff because he would request it. Can you play the riff from Lay It Down?
Yeah.
So now when we go through do our introductions or whatever, anytime Dan Gorman comes up, it's been bestowed upon me to play the Lay It Down riff.
Yeah.
So that's known as the Dan Gorman riff.
That's not even in drop D. I couldn't bring it to myself to put a D tuner on a D Martini guitar.
Yeah, he just uses the fine tuner.
He just uses a fine tuner, man, and backs it down, man. Old school and cool, man. Yeah, hilarious. See, Terry says Floyd will never be replaced. I agree. Floyd Rose is, a lot of people, John swore by the Godo. John swore by the Godo, but I don't think so. Is that you or is that me?
That's you.
It's me?
I think so.
Okay.
Sounds like a guitar cable.
Maybe it wasn't muted.
My stuff's on.
Floyd will never be replaced. I swapped the Floyd 1000 for an original Floyd Rose from 2000. Great job. So I usually swap those Floyd Rose 1000s, but let me tell you something. Those Floyd Rose 1000s are getting pricey now. Have you been watching the prices on those?
I've got a stockpile of them. I don't know if to sell them.
I got a stockpile of those things, and I don't know what to do with them now. I'm like, I don't know what to do with these. I think I'm going to, I think I might sell them and just start put the money aside and then go after Floyd's when I can get one for cheap,
Right. I've got a couple of pedals I need to sell too.
So that's a good point. John says, "Sir is my go-to manufacturer. Everything they do spot on. Customer service outstanding." Yeah. Don was my guy. Don was there when I was there. I just talked to him about a month ago, and still contemplating. I'm contemplating doing something with them, but the problem is how long to get the guitar, and if I should just go after one of those manufactured Pete Thorne. So I think that's probably what I'm gonna go after. Sir's got great stuff, man. Hey, I worked there for years, so those are they're great guitarists, great people too, man. I mean, like everybody that I worked with when I was there was good people. Andy Carson, thanks for being here, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
appreciate you stopping by. Please talk about your rig. Guitar to Stream Bar we just did. Hopefully that covered all your Diamond Dave says will do 40. So whatever he will do. Yeah, no problem. Okay, cool. Yeah. Send me that rig rundown. Yeah, it's a rig rundown. It is. Right. If Ryan says that my amp sounds good or my little Jakey Lee pedal sounds good, then I'm happy with that. Oh, hey, Jay's in the chat. What's up, Jay? How's it going, man? What up, Jay? Jay's saying hello, and Ryan, and there they are. So you can email D directly at 40 Grit Guitars, and let me get that off there. All right, let's. So we went through On the Radar, and then let's talk about your past. Like, when's the last time you played through like a 412 or a 212, or do you have anything? Or
it's been a while on a 412. I've got most of my stuff is in storage. I've got a 5152 still that I sold and did some bartering on a triple. So the first like real tube head I ever bought was mind you, this is the early 2000s, 2001, 2002, something like that.
Yeah, Mesa.
So everybody was playing triple rectifiers and PRS guitars.
Yeah.
So I saved my coin up. I bought a triple rectifier and a custom 24 and Fire Red Burst so I could sound like everybody else, and realized that wasn't what I was going for. So I sold the PRS, got rid of the triple rectifier, and found a 5152 on Craigslist. So I bought it. I kept the oversized Mesa 4x12. I love that cab. It's V30s. It sounds pretty much anything you plug into that cab sounds good. So I've got my oversized 412 Mesa. I've got an old Randall cab with it had those crappy Randall Jaguar speakers in it.
Yeah.
And I swapped those out for it's got 2 Texas Heats, and I think the other 2 are Patriots, and they're crisscross pattern. That was a live cab for a while. I've got a 6505 mini head, EVH Stealth 212 cabinet that I took the EVH speakers out of and put V30s in.
I thought all the 212s came with the Celestian vintage 30s.
No, they've got the G12 Heritage, the EVH ones.
Oh, really?
Yep. So I've got those speakers laying around too. And I've got an old Bandit 112, a Red Stripe Bandit 112 combo. I've got an old Randall RG 100, the dime bag head. And for those of you that think you're going to go buy an RG 100 and it's going to instantly sound like dime bag, you not even close.
Hey, buddy, I had a RGT 100 snakeskin.
Nice.
And I wish I would have kept it, and I sold it to some guy in Temecula. He came over and he wanted some guitar guy I met, and he goes, "Hey, I'll buy that right now." And I never used it. I wish I still had it. It was a RGT 100 snakeskin. You know what? That's a good point. Look at a Route 44. Hey, 40, been waiting you for Ask Randy's Mount Rushmore. We didn't even get to it. That was my question 10, bro. Who's on your Mount Rushmore of guitar players?
Edward Van Halen is numero uno.
Hold on a second. Hold on. Wait. Hold on. Okay, go ahead. Edward.
So Edward, I mean, he's the king. He's the GOAT. And I'd base this on the guys that, influenced me the most, especially early on. So it's going to be Edward.
Kirk?
Jerry Cantrell.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm a big Alice in Chains Jerry Cantrell fan.
Favorite Alice in Chains album? Facelift? Yeah, okay. All right, cool.
I love Dirt, but Facelift's my album. Bleed the Freak is my all-time Alice in Chains song.
Every song's good on that album. Every song is good. Yeah.
If you ever listen to the isolated guitar track for We Die Young, man, his tone on that's just nasty.
Yeah. So Cantrell, Van Halen.
So Jerry and Eddie. And then Probably Gary Moore.
Okay.
I'd throw Gary Moore up there. And I like all of Gary's 80s stuff more so than his blues stuff. I like his harder rocking stuff. But that dude's just a monster.
Yeah.
Just a monster. I mean,
if you listen to Gary Moore and you listen to Warren DeMartini, it's bizarre.
Yep.
How many licks that Warren uses of Gary Moore. I got blown away by it.
Kirk Hammett's the same way. There's a lot of little things that Kirk Hammett does. It's like that straight Gary Moore and Michael Schenker in his playing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I would put Gary Moore up there.
Yeah.
And, I didn't get into Gary Moore really until later. But, in probably my late teens, early 20s. But like I think it was like Live in Sweden or something from 87.
Mm-hmm.
And he's playing that red Charvel.
Yeah. Yeah.
The single EMG red Charvel. And I'm like, this dude is wild.
Yeah.
And then I got into like his blues stuff. And I'm like, he's playing blues with freaking high gain.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, Gary Moore's up there. And I guess the fourth guy would probably be, we'll go a little more modern, is Mark Tremonti.
Oh, no kidding.
Yep.
Did you watch the Beato with him?
I did.
Amazing.
So I've got some back history with Mark Tremonti.
Okay.
My cousin Annie was a promotions person for Wind Up Records back in the late 90s.
Oh, that's cool.
Wind Up started, and Creed was her band, because at the time Creed was the only band on Wind Up. It was an upstart label. So, I mean, from the time Creed got huge with Human Clay, anytime they would come through, it was backstage, all access. So I'd kind of been around all those guys since, I was like 12, 13 years old. And I knew Mark could play then, but, guitar solo, that was the era of guitar solos aren't cool.
Well, hold on a second. If you were a Creed fan, you wouldn't know that Mark Tremonti knew how to play guitar.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He had a couple leads here and there, maybe one an album, but they were nothing flashy. They were all bluesy, pentatonic short things. And I remember they did a live broadcast on VH1. It was the opening night they did Phillips Arena in Atlanta for the Weathered tour. And we were there, and VH1 I think they did like the first 3 songs live or whatever. And we were standing there at sound check watching Mark warm up, and he's just like blistering this, like these long legato patterns and insane, fast alternate pick stuff. And it's like, who the hell knew this guy could play?
Exactly. Yep.
And then when Creed split and Alter Bridge come out,
nobody knew until Alter Bridge hit, and then everybody knew he could play.
Yep. That first Alter Bridge single, Open Your Eyes, it come out, and I'm like, this sounds like this is about to build into a guitar solo. It's got that thing. And then he just like rips it. And I'm like, thank God he's going to bring it back.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm a huge fan of Mark. I'm a huge fan of his playing. He's one of those guys, when he's with his playing, he's kind of always evolving, going to the next realm. He's super melodic. His phrasing's great. He's got fantastic legato. His finger style is great. I mean, that, and he's like the most, a guy like that, multimillionaire, was in Creed. Alter Bridge is successful. His own solo deal. He's just the nicest dude on the planet too.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's super down to earth. He'll take all the time in the world for people. But when that dude's had a huge influence on me, especially after that show in like I think it was 02, it was 01 or 02. And I saw him. He had just gotten the his platinum silver Tremonti, signature Tremonti, first one made with the tremolo on it. I'm like, this dude's got a Les Paul with a Strat trim. Like, what is he doing? And then he's just like blistering licks. I'm like, okay, well, I need to start paying more attention to him. Mm-hmm. And I remember asking him, I'm like, why don't you ever do any solos? Like, because I was like, I'm a huge Van Halen guy. Why don't you ever do solos and stuff?
Yeah.
Solos aren't cool, man. These guys don't like it. I can't. He's like, I'm a huge metalhead. I didn't know at the time that he was big into like all the 80s thrash and, even death metal. He's
Yeah.
huge in like Celtic Frost and stuff.
Mhm.
And he's like, yeah, he goes, I can't get too heavy.
Mm.
He goes, eventually I'm going to do a solo album or something. And, he was surrounding himself with Paul Gilbert and Bill Peck and Michelangelo Badio. And he's always hanging around all these other guitar players, and he still does. But yeah, I mean, I think he's a very well-rounded, can pretty much nail it all guitar player.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think what he does now on tours with the what they call it, the songwriters thing, where it's like $200, but you get an hour guitar workshop with Mark. And sometimes there's only you and him in there. Maybe sometimes there's 20 people.
Mm-hmm.
You get an hour, guitar workshop with him, and then he takes you out on the stage and runs you through his rig. He'll let you play his guitar, and I think, in the world of where every band has a VIP and most of them probably aren't worth the money, that's definitely worth the money.
Mm.
But I don't know. He's just, he's been a huge influence on me, and, being around him and stuff from being a kid to even now, cool guy. I had a lot of respect for that dude.
So Randy's is Jerry Cantrell, Eddie Van Halen, Gary Moore, and Mark Tremonti.
It's a pretty wide spectrum of guitar players.
That's good, man. I mean, it's cool. Mine is so stupid. It's all like, but it just is what it is. DeMartini, Van Halen, Randy Rhoads, and Lynch.
Yep.
I just can't put. And then everybody falls in behind. I went to me and my buddy went to NAMM show one year, and we did the Paul Gilbert meet and greet, and he met us at a recording studio, and he had all of his guitars there, his double necks, his old Ibanez, and you could just pick them up and check them out and play them. And then he did he sat in the middle, and it was like a half moon of all the people sitting around him.
Right.
And he started stomping, and he goes, okay, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to play a lick, and then you're going to play a lick behind me, and then it comes back to me. And we're going to go through it twice. And everybody went through it twice. I recorded it. I still have it recorded. And then at the end, he gave each individual person a lick. He said, okay, this is a lick I want you to work on. And I got to tell you, man, I mean, I've met Paul Gilbert quite a few times, but he's probably the coolest guy. I mean, like, he's probably one of the coolest guys I've met.
Right.
With regards to like listening to you, like listening to you and just being cool. One thing I did notice when we went there is he was reading lips, and he told everybody, he said, I'm really working on, I'm having really bad hearing problems. Mm-hmm. And that's when he started wearing the headphones on stage and stuff. And I think I don't know if he's got better, but I don't think he's gotten worse. But he was not in good shape when we saw him. He was having a hard time hearing stuff. But I remember I took a performance. It's actually on the opening card to my show. Me and Paul are standing there, and I'm holding my performance, and he played that guitar, and he goes, man, this is a great playing guitar. And I sold that performance. I should never have sold that guitar. But yeah, Paul Gilbert, you say that about Tremonti being, attentive and listening to what you're saying. And I will tell you that I had that experience with Paul Gilbert. He was really cool.
Yeah. One thing about Mark too is like, how you see like the guys on YouTube when they're at NAMM or something, like, give me 3 tips for other guitar players. And they always say the same thing. Well, you got to practice, you got to do this, you got to do that. And Mark, I've heard people ask Mark that a million times. It's like, well, what's your tips? And he's like, well, everybody's going to tell you to practice. And he's like, sometimes practicing is just playing. He's like, he's always, think outside the box. Just, pick a note on the G string and just move it around while you're playing open other strings and just see what you can come up with. It just his way of approaching other guitar players that are learning and wanting knowledge from him is like you said, he's attentive, and he's like, okay, yeah, it's not, he doesn't give the typical answers, play with a metronome and da-da-da-da-da, that's not how he is.
You know who I'd like to, speaking of being a badass guitar player and probably knowing a lot about guitar stuff, I would like to talk to Russ Parrish.
Oh yeah.
But I want to talk to Russ Parrish. And the problem is every interview that guy does, you can't talk to Russ Parrish.
Right.
And I would just like to talk to him because I think that he's probably one of the most underrated guitar players out there because he'd probably smoke the majority of the people that we think are good.
Yeah.
And let's not forget, I mean, that guy's resume is like crazy, like GIT and working and living with Paul Gilbert and, you know, being his bass player in Paul Gilbert's band. And, you know, I would like to talk to Russ Parrish one day if I ever, you know, maybe for some, you know, the 45 people we have watching, if Russ Parrish is one of them, bro, I would love to talk to you at some. Yostinator is, hey, Lewis, what's up, man? Lewis likes talking about Michael Schenker.
Yeah, man.
Michael Schenker's cool. Jar of Flies is my favorite, talking about the Alice in Chains stuff.
Quentin James.
The Young Brothers, Nuno, George, and Ed. See, I think Nuno's one of those guys that falls in behind right after my 4. Surely in my top 10. Nuno's surely in my top 10. It's just a matter of where he falls. Who's Wolf Hoffman?
Except.
Oh.
He's the dude that keeps Accept going. Paul Gilbert.
Yeah.
Steve Clark.
That's a good one, man.
Yeah, man.
Steve Clark, man. Hey, let me tell you something. Def Leppard, and now this is my opinion. Def Leppard hasn't really wrote a good album since his passing.
No, and even like Adrenalize, he had written a lot of those songs for pieces that he had written.
Yep.
And I remember seeing, I think it was the Behind the Music thing. Phil Collins was like, all right, well, I'm sitting here trying to play Steve parts on Steve's guitars and make it sound like Steve's playing them.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. Is there a guitar player out there that looks cooler with a Les Paul than Steve Clark?
No.
I don't think so, man.
And that includes you, Slash.
Yeah. I don't think there's a guitar player out there. Hey, in the chat, who looks cooler than Steve Clark with a Les Paul? Let's just see what they come up with. Because I'm being honest, bro. I don't think there is.
No.
I mean, wearing that Les Paul all low like he did, and just he wore that Les Paul well, man.
You know, Steve Clark has some cool lead lines, but to me, those Leopard albums when he was still alive, he was almost like the Malcolm Young.
Yes.
I mean, he really kept that train rolling in the rhythm section.
Yeah.
You know, him and Rick Savage and Rick Allen. I mean,
Gods of War, bro.
I love that song. That's probably my favorite song.
The intro to Gods of War. I mean, like, I don't know. Oh my God. I mean, like, hey, great job. Who was that? Yostinator? Great job. Great pick, man.
Yeah, man.
Because I mean, every year, you know, on his anniversary of his passing, it always pops up in my Instagram, and I'm like, man, what a great guitar player, and what a great songwriter. You know, Def Leppard really hasn't recovered from the loss of Steve Clark, in my opinion.
No, and you know, as much as I love Vivian Campbell, I feel like it's kind of a waste of Vivian Campbell.
Well, dude, we could talk all night because now we're going into the Vivian Campbell. First of all, you were talking about Gary Moore and the single EMG. You know who the kid from Dio, the later kid.
Craig Goldie?
No, what's his name after him? The young kid, the 17-year-old kid who's now freaking in his 50s for sure, or like late 40s. Come on, Chad, help me out. I'm building his guitar, his Charvel, from that tour, from the Lock Up the Wolves.
Oh man, who was that?
I was just going to talk about it with you because you brought up that single, that Gary Moore guitar. I'm doing the black Charvel with a single EMG humbucker. I put an EMG 81 in it. That's going to be a cool guitar. I should have that in no time. Rowan Robertson.
There you go.
Rowan Robertson. Dude, that kid was cool, man. And I'll tell you, listen to that album. Listen to that Lock Up the Wolves album. That kid was out of control. And but going back to Vivian Campbell, I watched a thing with Vivian Campbell, and he was trying to pull off his Dio stuff, and I've gone to see Last in Line, and he pulled it off just fine. So I think this interview may have been a little bit before that, but dude, like it's troubling for me to see Vivian Campbell in Def Leppard because his hands are so flex cuffed.
Yep.
Everybody expects for and hey, there's plenty of people in that crowd that don't even know who Vivian Campbell is.
Yep. They don't know what he's done before.
No. And Phil Collins sitting there pulling off these solos that really, at the end of the day, really aren't, all that difficult. And then Vivian Campbell sitting there playing rhythm. But that's what he's paid for. That's his role, which I understand. But I totally get your drift with regards to the whole Vivian Campbell thing. Somebody asked about your was it Darren? Darren asked about what picture you're using. There it is.
The Dunlop Flow Gloss.
Okay.
The logo's kind of worn off, and it probably
those are cool.
It probably won't focus, especially because I can't hold it straight. But it's the Gloss Flow. They're Ultex, but they're polished.
Yeah.
So they've got a pretty good bevel on them. So they just glide off the strings. And then where, the print is in the center of a pick, it's actually divoted down for your thumb and your finger.
Yeah.
So they really don't feel like they're 2 millimeters thick.
Okay.
But I started using those like a year ago because I was a Jazz 3 guy forever.
Oh wow. Okay.
I went from the 0.73, the yellow Tortex, to Jazz 3s, like a 1.14 Tortex Jazz 3. And then I tried the old tech stuff and then ended up settling on the 0.73 Flow Tortex. I liked the shape. And I saw somebody on Instagram, kind of pimping these picks out. And I said, well, what the hell? I'll try them. They look neat.
Yeah.
And they're expensive. They're like $10 for a 3-pack.
Oh, wow.
But I bought the first 3-pack and was like, I'm never playing with anything else ever again.
What's funny about picks with me is I change. I've got a ton of picks on top of my head.
Right.
And I'll just grab something and I'll use it. Oh my God, this pick is great. Like I'll go, right now I'm using the Flow 73s, 0.73s, and they're great because they're kind of oversized pick. It's kind of oversized.
The Ultex or the Tortex?
I think it's
Are they clear or yellow?
They're clear.
Yeah, that's the Ultex.
So I like those, but then I picked up one of these the other day.
Yep.
And fantastic. I mean, I'm all over the place, and then I'll pick up a 60 Van Halen, and I'm like, oh, this is like amazing, So it just, picks just, they change for me. I'm going back and forth all the time. John uses a 2 millimeter gloss like you.
Yeah, you're welcome, John.
Yeah.
He started using them because I told him to. He tried them, and he's like, at first he was like, I can't play with something that thick. And then he got some and was like, no, these are the greatest things since sliced bread.
Okay, here we go. Cooler on a Les Paul than Steve Clark. Jimmy Page. Randy Rhoads. I may have to, yeah. Jimmy Page, I like Zeppelin. I was never a big Zeppelin fan. But I like Zeppelin. Jimmy Page look cool. But maybe my generation, because I think Zeppelin was a little bit behind me or in front of me with regards to when I hit the. But Randy Rhoads, yeah, Randy looked cool.
See, when
Ace
I think of
Frehley,
Randy,
some good names getting thrown out there.
When I think of Randy Rhoads, I always think of the polka dot Sandoval V. So.
Yeah. Oh, Garrett's here. What's up, Garrett? Garrett owns Sustain Guitars. What's up, Garrett? Steve is a full package. Looks cool. Songwriting, tasteful play. I agree.
Yep.
Maybe that's the best comment for him. Yep. Jimmy Page, the greatest of all time. Yep. I think that, opinions vary on that. I mean, for that time frame, yeah, probably. I mean, did he start it all? Maybe, it just depends on where you're at with that. Slash, see, I'm in agreement with you. I say Slash doesn't look as Steve Clark with a Les Paul or Slash with a Les Paul. I'm going Steve Clark.
Right. There you go.
Gary Moore.
Gary Moore.
Yeah. It's a good one. What are we rooting for here? Who looked cooler with a Les Paul? Who looked cooler than Steve Clark with a Les Paul? So that was the question. Rowan Robertson. So anyways, bro, I'm getting that guitar built, and I ordered it. This is how stupid I am. I have this picture of Rowan Robertson playing that guitar, and taped to the side are his Dio guitar picks in yellow.
Nice.
Right? So I see the picture, and then I go on eBay and I buy all the yellow Rowan Robertson Dio picks. So as soon as I get the guitar, I'm gonna tape all the Rowan Robertson. But yeah, dude, because it's all black and with the yellow picks on it, it looks badass. So I'm looking forward to getting that guitar.
Yellow mix.
Yeah, that's a good one. Darren says Randy Rhoads. Yeah, I mean, you get caught up in the moment. You're thinking about stuff, and then maybe you weren't right. I don't know. But I will say that Steve Clark was probably one of the coolest guitar players with a Les Paul. I don't think
anybody wore their Les Paul as low as Steve Clark.
No, man. God, I mean, how long was that cat's strap?
Right. 88 inches.
God, man. I mean, how long was the strap? Vivian changed to a legato style is playing these days yeah. Like I said, I just think he's kind of flex cuffed in Def Leppard, but he knows what his role is. That's what he's paying to do. He's paid to be the rhythm guitar player and, play the Steve Clark stuff. And then, Phil could play his stuff and that's that. And John DeShane has a good point. Vivian is making bank.
Yeah.
I'm going to be making bank tonight when I hit the Mega Millions for the $1 billion. I
thought I was winning that.
Yeah. Well, we can split it.
There you go.
Jeff T says Gary Moore. Yeah.
And Vivian was Vivian's two or three main. He was a Gary Moore guy and a Rory Gallagher guy.
Yeah, Rory Gallagher. Yeah,
I think it was Gary Moore's wife, or no, it was the other dude from Thin Lizzy is why he wanted a Les Paul to begin with.
Sykes?
No, 70s.
Oh, you're talking about early on? Yeah. I don't know, before my time, man. I wasn't into them. Everybody's saying, look at John DeShane says 2 millimeter gloss for life. I'll have to pick some of those up. See what so it's a 2 millimeter. Just text me what it is when we get done. I'll go buy some. I'm going to we're going up to Prescott tomorrow. Okay. Prescott, Arizona is like a small town up north and very Back to the Future-ish. Like the courthouse in the middle of town and everything. Right. That's why I like going up there. And they have a guitar shop up there called Grey Dog Guitars. So I'll go into Grey Dog tomorrow, check that. And so maybe they'll have that pick. So I'll grab some from them. Chris, thanks for being here, man. I've not seen your name in the chat before. So thanks for being here. I use the V-Pick snake pointed ghost trim 4 millimeter. Most of the time, Screamers 2.75 are good too. I went to a guitar lesson later on in my life when I was living in Temecula. I've been watching a lot of things saying sometimes it's good to go back just for a couple lessons. And there was a GIT guy that lived in town. And I go, hey, how can I do better? And he gave me some pointers and he told me to use a heavier pick. He said, you're going to find that the guys that play the faster stuff are playing with a heavier pick. And that's true because look at Yngwie.
Yep.
Look at Yngwie. And, look at Randy the Ripper. I mean, like the guys that are playing faster are playing with a heavier gauge string. So I guess it all depends on what you're used to. 73. See, 73 is my go-to. But, I'm definitely open to what other people say. All quality choices. See, I think so too. I think that everybody has their.
Sova knows who's a good guitar player and who ain't, and who looks cool and who don't.
Garrett says V picks. Aldo Nova. And yeah, he's cool. Rowan has a YouTube channel. Does he?
Oh, you need to get him on the show.
Chuck C, could you? Oh my goodness. Email me what his channel is. Just send me a link to that so I don't have to go look for it. I would appreciate that, man. Like, I'm being serious right now because I know he's in Vegas. We went and saw him at the Rock Vault, rating the Rock Vault, and he was fantastic. And I would really like to get him to sign that guitar. And they said that he's in Guitar Center all the time in Vegas, just hanging out. So maybe I could send him a message on YouTube and just see if, like, the next time we're in Vegas, if I can get him to sign my guitar. Because that would be like, I think I was in Desert Storm. We were deployed for sure, and I was on deployment. So I was in the Middle East, I'm pretty sure. And we got a shipment in to the ship store, and they had a bunch of new cassettes. And Lock Up the Wolves was in it. And I go, oh my God, a Dio album in the Navy ship store? I'm buying it. And I went up and started listening to it. I was like, this is freaking awesome, man. And then when I got home, I went on a Dio kick again. And but hey, man, that guy can play. That kid can play. I mean, obviously he was like 17, and Dio, took him and made him something. So thanks, Chuck. I appreciate that. If you could, that'll be the first thing I look at when we're done tonight. I'll go see if I can find his channel. I'd like to see that. John says Jimmy Page is the GOAT. Everything else is imitation.
I didn't hear Jimmy Page write Mean Street.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I can take that serious. I'm not sure if John's being serious or he's trying to provoke. I mean, yeah, I guess everybody's, yeah. Hey, like I said, Jimmy Page maybe was the catalyst, but certainly, well, I would probably say Hendrix was the catalyst, right?
Yeah, I'd go with that.
Yeah, I would say Hendrix was probably the catalyst. Steve Stageman's, though, no one hung in there. Yeah, right?
Hung their Lester lower.
Yeah. I was never a Who fan. Were you a Who fan?
No, not really.
Yeah,
I like a couple songs here and there, but
I'm not into it. I never got into the only cool thing that ever happened to me with the Who is we played at I'm sure I probably told the story, but we played at Cabo Wabo for 2 nights, and Jerry Cantrell was in town, and what's his face? Who's a bass player for the Who?
Entwistle.
He was there. So we got done. And we went down, and I'm sitting there just hanging out with my bass player. We're just sitting there drinking, watching. They had a house band that went on after us, and they were like the Cabo Wabo house band. And they went on, and they asked us to come up and play. We went up and played with them for a couple songs, and then went back. We're sitting at the table, and this person came up behind me, and he massaged my shoulders and patted me. He said, "Hey, you sounded great tonight." And I go, "Oh, thanks, man." And he walked away, and my bass player's looking at me. He goes, "Oh my God, do you know who that was?" And I go, "Who?" And he goes, "That was John Entwistle." And I go, "Oh, cool." But so I got patted on the back by John Entwistle at one point in my life, which was, I guess it's kind of cool. We wouldn't have Ed without Page.
Nah, that's not true.
Coolest dude with a Les Paul was Les Paul. Yeah, maybe. I mean, yeah. I mean, we can't mention Les Paul without Les Paul. So,
right.
I mean, you're right there. I'll give you that. Prescott Town Square looks like the one from Dukes of Hazzard. Yeah.
There's a coincidence there. Jeff T is the town I'm from is Covington, Georgia, which is where they film like the first however many episodes of the Dukes of Hazzard.
Oh, that's cool.
And the square pretty much still looks the same.
That was my show, bro. Me and my dad used to watch Dukes of Hazzard every weekend, man.
Yep.
That is so funny. Diamond Dave says that he uses the 60 millimeter nylons, which I'm a fan of. I like those. Even guys like me who doesn't play fast like thick picks.
He's getting faster. John's getting faster. I got the fire lit under his ass.
I think John plays just fine. I think John.
John's great.
I like that new amp. I've been in there a couple times when you guys have been on. I just haven't commented because I get home. Like I got home last night and I jumped in for a few and I was watching you guys. I mean, you guys. I don't know if I'd be able to adapt to like just going on and playing like that. I'd be afraid. I'd be shitting my pants. Mary Ford killed it on Les Paul. Yes, she did. Yep, she was good. Tom Schultz. Yeah, Boston. Right.
Yep, that was another one of my dad's favorite bands was Boston. RR Guitar Channel. So I guess
RR Guitar Channel. Okay, RR Guitar Channel. Hold on a second. I mean, I'm not kidding about this. I will look at that tonight as soon as I'm done. Guitar Man 45.
What's
Hello,
up, Bo?
40 and Randy. What's up, man? How you doing? Thanks for
bro?
being here. Appreciate it.
Bo's got the master collection.
Really?
You pretty much name it. He's probably got 3 of them.
Of guitar stuff?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah. Amps, guitars, you name it. Bo's probably got it.
Hendrix spawned the Stevie Ray Vaughan thing. Page started everything rock, including shred.
I thought Chuck Berry invented rock and roll.
I don't know.
Just to play devil's advocate there.
So I wanted to go back to something you were talking about. I have a 5152 in storage.
Right?
The 5152 head is like for me personally, I like getting into two discussions with people about the 5150 and the 5152. Because when the 5150 came out, it was badass.
Yep.
And we were like, "Oh my god, this is awesome." And then PV says, "Let's do a lesser expensive, let's do a combo." So Ed does the combo and
Weighs
there's
8 million pounds.
Yeah, that weighs 1 million pounds. I got one. I restored mine. It's badass. It's perfect. And I revinyled it and everything. I put pull-out casters on it. But I love the conversation of the 5152 because they send Ed the combo and there's a capacitor or something that wasn't correct or it was off. It was different. And Ed goes, "Something's different." And they said, "Nope, everything's the same." And James Brown says, "Nope, everything's the same." And he goes, "No, man, I'm telling you, there's something different." They send it back. They reverse R&D it. They find it. And he says, "Well, hey, I like it. And let's do it. And I want to do another amp. And I want to do and I want to have control over both channels."
Yep.
Separate. And they do the 5152. Yeah. In a 5152. So let me ask you a question. And I think I know what your answer is. And the chat, by all means, jump in on this because we've had this conversation before. At the end of the day, what's the best PV head? The 5150 or the 5152?
That's a hard one. I mean, I have my own love for the 5152 because I've owned one for so long. And I've played several of the original. I've played Signature logo and Block logo.
Yep. But if you could only have one.
For me, it's going to be the 2 because I like having the independent EQs.
Yep.
The 2's 20 more watts. And it's got, to me, and I don't know if they ever confirmed it or not, but I mean, it's 20 more watts. I'm pretty sure that's got a little bit more. The 2's got more gain too.
And I think there was a bias adjustment on the 2, isn't there?
Yes.
And you couldn't do that on 5150. It was plug and play.
Right.
Just like the combo. There's no bias adjustment. So I think that's a great conversation because I love having that conversation with people because, like, man, if I got to go buy a 5150 head, am I buying the 2 or am I buying the 1? I'm buying the 2.
Mm-hmm.
I'm buying the 2. And people are going to argue. They're going to be like, "No way, the OG, blah, blah, blah." But really, the OG, I think, was a stepping stone
Sure.
to the 2. And it really wasn't out that long before they came out with the 2.
Yeah, probably 5 years. The 2 came out, 98?
Yeah, 4 or 5 years. 6. I think 96 is when the 2 came out.
I remember seeing the ad for it in one of those old PV Monitor magazines.
Yeah.
And Ed's wearing like the white tank top and jeans. He's got like a Tobacco Burst Wolf Special.
Yeah.
And he's leaned up against the stack with the two head on it. And it was, I want to say it was around 98. Because he had long hair again and stuff.
Okay.
I know a lot of people don't know, is they were going to do a 5150 micro stack as well.
Yes. Yeah. James Brown talked about that. He said that
I've seen pictures of it.
Somebody said that they were
released.
Who was it? Somebody said they were at 5150 and they saw it. Like Ed Stell had it there. I think it was Matt Bruck. Matt Bruck said that he still had it, like he was talking to James Brown, or somebody was talking to James Brown, and James Brown was Friedman.
It got brought
Friedman
up on Tone Talk when James Brown was on there.
It was Friedman, and James Brown was on there, and he said he still got it. He said he used to see it sitting there. That's just crazy, man. That's so cool, man. So cool. Yeah. Okay, let me jump back in. Chris says thick picks are isn't really about speed. It's actually more relaxing because your fingers are spaced further apart when gripping a thicker pick. More comfortable experience.
I'll agree with that.
John DeShane, John, do you play when it comes from your heart? Speed is just a vehicle to get you from a point. Yep. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
The longer I play with John on this, on our shows, the more John starts incorporating my licks and the more I start trying to steal his licks.
Yeah. That's what's cool about playing with other people. Remember when Sammy first started playing with Ed?
Yep.
He goes, I don't necessarily talk faster. I just talk better.
Right.
And that was so cool when he said that. He goes, I don't know if I talk faster or, whatever. I just talk better. Dave Meniketti, Y&T, man. Yeah. Yeah, cool.
That's a band that gets overlooked a lot.
Oh, man, I love Y&T, man. I mean, like, so many cool tunes, right?
Yeah.
Y&T's a good band.
Jimmy does a Y&T cover. I think it's, what's the name of that tune Jimmy does on our show? Rock and Roll's Gonna Save the World or something like that.
Dude, I was up one night. I was living in my old house, and I had kind of a cool guitar room there, but nowhere near as cool as what I have now. And Summertime Girls came on, the old video, and I go, I'm going to go figure that solo out. Why have I never figured that solo out? And I figured that solo out. That's a cool solo, man.
Yep.
That's a cool solo. Dave Meniketti had some cool licks, man.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
John Stell promoting Jimmy Page. Let's see. Lewis says yes to something. Jimmy Biter says PV 3120. There he is.
Jimmy.
Hey, Jimmy, what's your thought on the Ibanez Gem 777 reissue in green? Just asking for a friend. Browns fan says he likes the OG 5150. Guitar Man 45 says he has an early 5150 block letter. I had a block letter. I sold it during COVID for like $1,800. So I was okay with that move because I still have my 5152. But
go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
So the 5150 versus the 5152, I think nowadays most people, both those amps they're modern metal. Everybody and their brothers used them. But I would say at this point, the 2 or the 6505 plus or whatever you want to call it, whatever variation of it, has probably been used on more albums now than the original. The 6505 plus / 5152 in the metal world, I think it's still one of the top 3 go-to amps for metal rhythm guitar tones.
Yeah, probably so. That's I would never sell my 2. I couldn't do it. And the output transformer, when I put a Mercury in it, and it sounded even better. I mean, like Pete Thorne talking about them changing output transformers one time. He said that I forgot what amp. He said they tried a Mercury and didn't like it as much as something else, but I have no complaints on the Mercury output transformer on that 5152. It sounds fantastic. Let's see here. Tube Facts. What's he talking about? What's Ryan talking about? What is that? Do you know?
Mm-mm.
Buzzsaw.
John's not a 5150 amp fan.
I like the one that goes to 11. My Hot Rod 50 Soldano goes to 11.
Yep.
Let's see here. John DeShane says, you're right. I do completely off the cuff. I just need an amp that can cover for me. I think the Alta is it.
Oh, he loves that Alta amp, man.
Yeah.
It covers so much ground. You know, it does the Plexi thing. It does the Hot Rod at 800 thing, you know, and everything in between. So, I mean, you can just tell by him playing it versus playing, you know, I'm not saying that Sir was is a bad amp by any means, but Plexis, they're stiff.
Yep.
And it's just, you can see the ease of his playing through this Alta 100.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I've I got a really good amp guy, and I've said it a million times on here, but I remember that I took my my EVH in or something, and I said I'm checking out some other amps and blah blah blah. And he goes, "So you're an EVH guy?" And I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Don't go looking for another amp, man." He goes, "Because you're not going to find anything that's going to trump it. You're not." He said, "If you like that EVH sound, there's no sense in you going and looking at other amplifiers." And he's right. Because I always end up back to the EVH stuff. I always go back to the EVH. I might go monkey around on something else and go, man, that sounds really good. But at the end of the day, I'm always back to the EVH. That's just the way it goes.
Right.
Cushman's here. Hey, man, what's going on? Appreciate you being here.
What's up, Cush?
Jimmy Biter, they play. I'm a junkie for the golden era. So I think he's responding to the question about the 777.
Yeah.
So I think that's what he's responding to.
Yeah, Jimmy likes that late 80s, early 90s. He likes those S540s and...
Oh, he's being sarcastic. Tube Effects.
I thought that was the best PV amp ever. I thought that was the Rage 158, man.
That's funny.
I had a Rage 158 with a Boss Metal Zone in front of it.
Yeah. Yeah, right? Hey, you said you put your smart gate in the it's not in the loop?
No, it's right after my boost pedal.
Okay.
So I used the Greer Lightspeed overdrive. It's organic overdrive. It's a pretty low gain overdrive.
Mm-hmm.
And I use it for like when I'm on the Fryette. I use it for solos just to bump it a little bit more gain, a little bit of a mid bump. And it's a great overdrive. I can't say enough good things about the Greer. But yeah, I just keep the smart gate right after it. I don't have a gate in the loop.
Yeah.
I know there's guys that run one in the loop and run in front of the amp and all that stuff. So I just have mine in the loop. I mean, in the front of the amp after the boost.
When I was gigging, I only used a gate in the loop. It was my first pedal in the loop. And it kept everything quiet. It kept everything quiet, man. I never had any problems with playing through that EVH and the PV5152. I always have my smart gate, the first pedal of the loop. And I forgot who I got that from, but it worked. I was like, and it's like Pete Thorne says, you know, please don't ask me where to put pedals because it's going to be different for everybody. Right. Everybody's going to have a different way of doing it. He'll give you a basis. I think this is where this should go or this where this should go. And, you know, Pete's helped me a lot with stuff. I mean, just like watching his stuff, you know, but pedals are surely a thing that, you know, it's just whatever works for you. You can't say this is the way it goes, you know?
For sure.
Yostinator says 5152 versus the 3. Well, what? The 100 watt or the 50? You know, I mean, for me personally, I love my 50 watt 5153. If I could only have one of the EVH heads, I would take the EVH 5153 50 watt, not the Stealth.
That's a hard one because I've played Ryan's
It is hard.
rig.
It's hard.
That's a real hard one when I've played Ryan's rig. So,
Ryan's playing through 100 watt though, right?
Yeah.
He's got 100. Yeah, okay.
Well, Ryan's got all three heads. He's got the white, the OG 5153. He's got the AL34 version and the Stealth. And 99.9% of the time, he's on the Stealth.
He's on the Stealth.
When I played his rig, it was on the Stealth.
I don't think there's anybody's rig that's better than Ryan's. I mean, for us EVH guys, I don't know if there's one that can trump that.
So I got to brag on Ryan's rig for a second. My answer to Yost's question is the 2 because I'm partial to it. I think the 2 has a little more of, if it's dialed in right, you can get a little bit more close to that Soldano sound with the 2. And some people vibe with the Soldano and some people don't. But yeah, the 2 for me. But I got to brag on Ryan's rig, man. When you sit in that room and you're like 5 feet away from those 3 cabs, I can literally have a conversation with Ryan while you're playing it. I mean, he's barely got that volume cranked. I mean, it's like, I don't even think it's probably barely kissing 1,
Yeah.
I mean, you can still speak over it. And even at that low a volume and that being that close to those cabs, the sound in there is massive. It's just huge.
Yeah.
Even in, that small of a space that it's in, it's not in like a 100 by 100 room, but it's not a 10 by 10 bedroom either. I don't know exactly how big the room, but anyway, in a normal size room at that low volume, I mean, it literally sounds like the arena rig. And then he's done a really good job of translating that sound through this Rodecaster on to YouTube. I mean,
yeah.
But yeah, it's huge, man.
Yeah, I think he's got the best. Well, that's a joke. The Backstage. I've got a Backstage Plus that I still have. That was my first amp. Which, interestingly enough, I was talking to my old man the other day, and he goes, "Hey, don't forget, I bought you your first amp." I go, "Dad, I still have that amp." And he was like, "Are you serious?" And I go, "Yeah, I still got it. I got a Backstage Plus out in the garage. It's hilarious." 5150 is a great amp, but it's either full on or off. Not much in the way of dynamics.
Well, the 5150 does a thing, and it does that thing well.
Yeah. Yep.
And pretty much every incarnation of the 5150, whether it be the 1, 2, or 3, they all do that same thing. And I think it was John Connolly, one of the guitar players from Seven Dust. He plays the 5153s, and that's pretty much how he put it. He's like, it's 3 channels of what this amp does.
Yeah.
If you're wanting the most pristine cleans, like Fender cleans, and then a plexi sound or something, you're not going to get it. It does a high gain version of that brown sound, and that's what the amp does.
Yeah.
And each channel is just that tone with more and more gain.
I think my guitar guy's right. I mean, like, if you're a Van Halen guy, do not try to venture out, because you're not going to find what you're looking for.
No. And like I said, if you're used to that sound, I mean.
Ryan says 100 watt, get the fuck out. I've got the 100. I just don't, I feel like I can push. I mean, being more of a bedroom player now, I can push the 50 harder to get it where I want it than I can the 100. So I think that's probably why. Now, if I was going to a gig, I probably would take the 100. The 100's right here. And I just got her a clean bill of health. I took her up and got her cleaned up and everything, and she's good to go. Will I ever use it again? I don't know, but I'll never sell it. So,
but you know how many guys are out there now that are in big bands that are touring and playing festivals and stuff, and they're using the 50 watters. Right. Yeah. Wolfgang's using the 50 watt.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. I've got both. I've got the, so I've got the 100. I got the iconic 80 watt. I got the 50 watt in white, and I got the 50 watt stealth. And then I got the PV 5152. I got the EVH combo, the 212, which sounds fantastic. I love that combo. The EVH3 in the white Tolex.
Right.
And then I got my PV 5150, which I'll never sell. So I got a lot of gear, but it's gear that we're kind of at the point now with the Van Halen stuff. And I said this to somebody the other day. I said, where are you going to get another one? If you end up getting rid of it, where are you going to get another one in the condition that your stuff is in? And my stuff's in pretty good shape. So, and that's my problem getting rid of anything, so that's kind of where I'm at now.
Right.
What does 5x8 mean?
I don't know.
Yosinator says he runs a Helix into a powerful FR cab. I love it, but I want to go.
I tried the Helix years ago and it wasn't my thing.
See, I haven't tried any of that stuff. I mean, the closest I've come is this little IRJ, which I'm pretty happy with because I don't have to mic a cab and everything and worry about everything else. It's direct. It's direct into the Rodecaster, and it sounds good enough. Fisticuffers says he preferred the 51-5300 watt live, which I would too. I think at home I practice with the 50 watt through a Mesa Oversized 412.
Yes.
I think that I agree with that. I think that I agree with that because the 100 is just too much for me personally. Inside the bedroom, I like the 50 watt, or actually that 80 watt Iconic's cool because it's got the the power level. It's got the power level, and I've got it on the lower power level, so. You can mess with that way. John DeShane says 50 watts just doesn't have enough headroom. There's something about big iron that just does it for me.
How much headroom do you really need?
Different strokes for different folks.
Exactly.
That's what's cool about all these guitar channels, bro. Everybody's got their own swing on things.
Yep.
And which is cool because if we all like the same thing, it'd be boring. Except for you and I, Randy. I mean, like I know when I see something, I'd be like, Randy, like this.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, like you and I are wired the same on stuff, I think. All right, I'm caught up in chat. I want to see where you're at. We're 2 hours and 17 minutes in. Are you good, or are you?
I'm good, bro.
Okay, cool.
Going on tomorrow.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we're gonna head up north. Guitar Man 45 says right now I'm using a Marshall JCM TSL one. Okay, TSL 100. And 172 Marshall Super Lead 100 with a Helix control on them. I bumped into Neil Sean on one of the Journey tours I had backstage, and he went to go up and get my picture with him, and I talking to him, and I go, "Hey man, what's the best Marshall head that you would recommend?" If I was just going to go buy just one Marshall head. And he told me a JCM 900, which I thought was interesting. So I mean, I'm not really a Marshall guy. I got a JVM, which I kind of fell in love with over at my buddy's house, and I really haven't played through it, but his JVM sounded amazing. And then I got one, and it sounds cool, but then I got the EVH sitting next to it, and I played through it, and I'm like, I'm
right.
Yeah, I'm good. I might sell that. No, the Marshall JCM 800. See, that's what I was thinking, and he was going to say something like that. He told me a JCM 900. I thought that was interesting. So, but maybe he was just bullshitting me or something. 900s are terrible. John says, see, I don't think 900s are great either, but I thought that was an interesting. That was an interesting comment. And then I asked him about, and then, something else that's cool about Sean is I was at Sir, and I was on my lunch break or something looking at Facebook, and Neil Sean was on there, and he had just posted something, and I jumped in the chat real quick because I was on a big Journey kick, and I asked him about The Party's Over. You know that tune, The Party's Over?
Yeah.
So the intro to that, how it starts off with that cool, like melodic lick. Right. And I go, hey man, I go, hey Neil, quick question. Where did the intro to The Party's Over come from? Was it like a warm up for you or something? And he came back immediately. He goes, no, we were pressured to come up with a studio song for that album because it was a live captured album. And he said, we just had to throw something together quick. And he said, I threw that together on the cuff. And I was like, to throw a lick like that together on the cuff, that's why he's Neil Sean.
Exactly.
You know, I was like, oh my God, that's just so, and I was shocked that he answered my question that quickly. I was like, man, that's just really cool. That's really cool that that he answered so quickly. Haven't owned a real amp in forever. Currently running a Fractal FM9 through a pair of Cali LP6s at home. Loving it. I don't know what that is. Do you know what that is, Randy?
The Cali?
Yeah.
I have no idea. I would assume probably the like some FR powered speakers or something. I don't know. I know what the FM9 is. John's got. I almost bought an FM9. John's got that FM3 that I think he's running all his effects with now. And yeah, I'm not sure about the LP6s. Yeah, there you go. He said they're FR studio monitors.
Oh, okay. I'm sitting in a room of archaic belongings, I think.
Right.
You know, with all this, with all, you know, what everybody's doing now, you know. Now, he would tell you a EVH 100 watt. I wonder who he's talking about.
Neil Sean.
Oh, yeah, Neil Sean. Now he would. Yeah, you're right, man. Yeah, he would. He would tell you 100 watt now. He should. He was playing those EL34, the EL34 EVHs, right?
Yep, and he was playing the Stelts, and then I think this last run he was back playing some Marshalls again.
Talk about gear. That guy's got some gear between him and Lynch.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure Neil Sean's got more shit, but you know, Lynch has got some good stuff, man. Lynch said that he's got one of Ed's original Marshall cabs with the Tolex ripped off it, and he said it's his best sounding cabinet. That's so cool. He's got one of those. I wonder if it's got the Van Halen logo on it. I mean, that'd be really cool if it did. That'd be cool to see that.
Oh, for sure.
The 800 was the last great amp Marshall made, in my opinion.
You never played a JCM 2000? That was a joke, John. Don't get mad.
100 watt. My JCM 900s are very nice, but they do not have the brown raw power punch as my TSL has. Yeah, I can see that. I got a friend of mine who's a big Marshall guy, and I mean, like, when you go over and play through his Marshalls, they sound great. Mm-hmm. It's just when you come home and play through the EVH, you see there's no comparison.
Right.
For me personally. Yeah, studio monitors. So, all right, man. Well, I think we're caught up in the chat. I'm ready to wrap it up. You ready to wrap it up?
Yeah, man, whatever you want to do.
All right, buddy. Let's see. Thanks for being here, everybody. 2 hour and almost 2.5 hours of me and Randy. Probably getting tired. Probably falling asleep.
By quick.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens when you get great minds together, right, bro. Exactly. Start talking about some good shit. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you being here, pal.
No, man. I'm glad you had me.
I appreciate it. And I enjoy watching you guys. You can see Randy on Ryan's OU812 channel. Check him out. I want to come on for gear talk.
Guitar Snow again?
Yeah. We got to do another Guitar Snow. We got to pick something out and come on. So if Ryan will have me, I would love to come on with you guys again and hang out and talk about guitar stuff. Oh. I just got to get my balls big enough to come on there and on one of your playing days and see if I can see if I pull that shit off, because I don't know if I could.
The first few months, I had the stage fright before every show.
Yeah,
and it's so stupid because it's like there's nobody in front of you. I mean, there's a wall on the other side of this monitor and camera.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
So it's not like you're in a packed club or an amphitheater or whatever.
Yeah,
you know. It's just one day it just kind of hit me. It's like, why are you nervous? Just get on there and let loose and, you know, loosen up and get on there and go.
Yeah.
It's like I don't want to make a mistake. I don't want to sound like shit, you know? And then, well, mistakes are unavoidable. You got to do them twice or do a face like John does.
Yeah.
When he makes one.
Yeah.
And laugh it off and keep rolling.
Yeah.
But yeah, the first few months, man, I'd always get nervous before the shows.
Yeah.
Now I look forward to it. I mean, they're the highlights of my week.
Yeah. That's cool, man. Well, I enjoy watching you guys, and I like to come on again for a Guitar Arsenal. And hey, so these are the guys, the guys that I'm bringing on are the guys that I watch. And so I will. I'm gonna reach out to Ryan, see if he wants to come on, and then next month probably, and then I would like to come on and do a guitar song with you guys. We'll pick out a guitar, pick out some cool stuff to talk about or whatever, and then we can have a cool show over there, and then get Jimmy involved and John, and we can get everybody talking about something. That'd be kind of fun. I think.
I do too.
So
obviously, I'm like you. I can talk gear for hours and hours.
It doesn't end, man. Like the guys at work. We'll be sitting there, doing car stuff. They're like, hey, you want Mike to get pepped up? Just start talking about guitar stuff. Yep. And then I come alive. Like guitar stuff. I talk about guitar stuff all day long, man. So.
Oh yeah.
Well, hey, bro, I really appreciate you being here. Thanks for being one of my guests, and I hope everybody got something out of this tonight. I know I did. I learned some stuff tonight, and I enjoy going through the comments with you guys. And thanks for your participation. And hey, Randy, stick around for a second, and then I'll see you guys on the next one. I don't know. I'll be shooting a video this weekend. I think I'm going to do it on Sunday with the comparison of the ESP Tiger, the M1 versus the GL 600 MT. So I'll do that this weekend, and then I'll get you guys a video. So let me check and see with a couple comments here. Let's see here. White 100 watt, 50 watt, 3 black, 34. Yeah, all the 5150 stuff's fucking badass. Just to cover, have a good one, guys. Okay, all right, bro. Well, I'm gonna play us out, and I will see you guys on the next one. Be on the lookout for the Lynch video. And Randy, thanks for being here, bro. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
All right, see you guys later.